What's going on, fellow A-plussers? Welcome back once again to a brand new episode of A-plus. I was about to say A-plus Hero Report. A-plus More Phenomenal, your weekly stop for your Power Rangers, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Ultraman, Tokusatsu, right here on our YouTube page, ladies and gentlemen. Also going live not only on YouTube, but also over on our Facebook page as well, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you very much for certainly joining us here today. Sorry about the little flub here in the beginning, guys. I got a special treat here for you guys here in just maybe about 5 minutes or so. That's really got me in that A-plus Hero Report mindset today. So I definitely do apologize about that. But you're watching A-plus More Phenomenal, and I'm certainly your host, back again, once again, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully kicking your weekend off right as we wind up giving ourselves a brand new episode of Dino Fury today over on Nickelodeon, episode 14, Old Foes. We're going to be talking about that today. We're also going to be reviewing and recapping Hasbro PulseCon 2021. It's 2 days worth, guys. They're still going today, believe it or not. So if there are any other franchises that you're interested in that Hasbro's certainly taking care of, you might want to go and watch Hasbro PulseCon at some point in time today. But we did at least get the Power Rangers panel yesterday. We're going to be breaking down that along with some of the goodies, maybe even some of the controversy surrounding it. And then, of course, we got some Tokusatsu news for you guys today and some other Power Ranger stuff we're going to be getting into before we get to your live viewer questions, guys. So thank you for certainly joining us here today. Kick back, relax, whether you're sipping on water, coffee, OJ, enjoy yourself today, guys. We're going to have ourselves a fantastic show. And if you're in the live chat, guys, especially if you're watching us live, do us a big favor, hit that thumbs up. The thumbs up certainly does go a long way for the YouTube algorithm. It certainly does help. But you know how we like to do around here, guys. We got to go ahead and give some shout outs to people that show love to us every Saturday, or at least certainly joining us during our live chat. So let's see who's in the house today. We got Blossom certainly coming through. What's up, Blossom? Good to see you in here as always. We have Frankie in the house. Thank you very much. Another fellow Perez of mine here, Mr. Enrique Perez. Thank you very much for certainly coming through today. Another cousin of mine, Adrian, is certainly here today. Thank you very much, guys. And we really need to just start a small army of Perez's. I truly do think so. We got Power Rangers Legacy in the house. It's Morphin time. Thank you very much for always setting that up for me. Adam Perea in the house also. Thank you very much for coming through. He says, hey, man, I love the finale of Dino Fury Season 1. You're missing out. I know I'm slow and steady, but eventually I'll get to the end of this season, guys. I promise you. I promise you. It's so funny. And even though I mentioned the idea that we got ourselves a brand new episode this week on Nickelodeon, you guys could have watched this episode last week for all I know. Who else we got? We got Power Rangers Ready in the house. Jordan, what's up, Jordan? Thank you very much for certainly coming through. Sarav is in the house. Thank you very much. Edward Sanchez Productions. Good to see you, buddy. JB says, what? In here making his presence certainly known. Let's see here. We got Datilla. Says, hey, Adam, just dropped in to say on my way to LAX, going to Impact in Las Vegas. Very nice. Enjoy your wrestling show today, Datilla. Thank you for certainly coming through. Izzy's in the house. We also got Charles Abraham certainly joining us here today. Video DVD, my guy. Thank you very much as always. And of course, Marcelino Vasquez. Not only do you usually join us on A-plus Hero Report, but here as well for More Phenomenal today. So thank you very much, Marcelino, for certainly coming through. And then, of course, guys, as we have other people, other stragglers that make their way, certainly make them feel welcome into the group, make them feel part of our A-plus More Phenomenal family here. Yeah, thank you very much for you guys' continued support. So today was this week was a big week, I feel like, guys, in regards to Power Rangers. We wind up getting ourselves some news in regards to the movement of Dino Fury from Nickelodeon over to Netflix. We're definitely going to be talking about that with you guys today here as well. But I guess if anything, we should probably get right into our Dino Fury episode review. But listen, guys, the surprise that I have for you today is that it's not just me giving you guys the review for Dino Fury. I actually wind up being able to grab Stewart, who you guys most notably remember from his Kamen Rider reviews here. If you've been following us on Hero Report, you know he joins us every Sunday also. But today, we're bringing Stewart into the conversation. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you, man.
I don't know. I think it was less of you grabbing me and more of me constantly harassing you, being like, Adam, can I join your review? Adam, can I please join this review? Adam, I want to talk about Lord Zedd with you.
Yeah, most definitely, man. I know you were definitely wanting to get on this episode. So especially after watching the episode myself, I definitely was like, yeah, we definitely got to bring Stewart in to go ahead and get his thoughts in regards to this. Look, we got even people shouting you out, yo, Stewart. We got Izzy in the house. So yeah, definitely good to see you around here, man. Who else we got in the house? We got Isaiah certainly coming through. Thank you very much, Isaiah. Emmanuel's here today with us. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. It's always good to certainly see you. And then we've got Marcelino definitely giving you some shout outs. So it's good to see you, man. We haven't had your Common Writer reviews around here in a while. I'm sure that there are some people that are sad, crying every Tuesday when they're like, where's Stewart? And he's nowhere to be found. So it's good to certainly see your face, man. And thank you very much for certainly popping up here today. But I guess if anything, Stewart, let's go ahead and start diving into Dino Fury episode number 14, titled Old Foes, which this is actually Hasbro's, or I should say Power Rangers Dino Fury's Halloween special here this week. I got the opportunity to see some really great costumes. I think Ali wind up popping up as an astronaut, which I thought was pretty cool. We had Hunter as a vampire in here, which I love. Just the little commentary from Ali in the beginning, like, weirdest mosquito I've ever seen, sort of thing. I absolutely love the fun that they just continue to poke at each other. We had a leprechaun by Izzy, which was pretty fun. Zedd wind up literally showing up as a knight, and leave it up to Chance to certainly, or Chance, or I should say Javi, to certainly come through as his father, a zombie park warden. What'd you think about the costumes here, at least this year around?
Yeah, I definitely thought they were fun. I think when I look at the previous Halloween special that they did for Beast Morphers, to me it kind of felt not as much in character as I would have expected, the ones that they kind of decided to go with. But here it kind of feels like the ones that they chose really felt like it was fitting everyone's personality really well. I mean, the leprechaun one with Izzy was a bit random, but what they did with it at the very end with that really cool visual at the end, I thought that was actually pretty unique.
I actually thought that was pretty cool too. I actually put it in my notes, like that final shot. The director, I think Chris Graham, the idea of having that shot looking down at them, having the actors look up and then kind of all be transported, sort of thing. I thought it was a really cool shot to go ahead and end the episode off. So I'm glad that you mentioned that.
Yeah. Oh, well, I was actually referring to kind of like how they put like the rainbow like in her on top of her hat, with her being the LGBTQ character. And I thought, okay, that is actually really cool.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that was intentional, but like, I still think it's cool regardless.
Yeah, I don't know if that was intentional or not, but I didn't even catch that. So I'm glad you brought that to my attention for sure. But this was a pretty interesting episode, man. This is actually one that I really enjoyed. I did not know how I was going to feel going into this episode, especially after reading the episode descriptions, knowing that Lord Zedd was certainly going to be back, even though we really try and do our best to be as spoiler free as possible. There are some things that just are so impactful that it hits you regardless. The idea of, Izzy with the LGBTQ representation and the idea of Lord Zedd, there's no way I feel like anybody in the community was able to avoid this spoiler before going into the episode. But the question that I truly had was, what was the execution of this episode going to be like? Were they going to go ahead and do Lord Zedd justice, not just from voice wise, but also just storytelling wise? And I got to tell you, man, this went above and beyond my own expectations I had for this episode. What about you?
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree. I think I went into this like not necessarily excited because I thought it was going to be a good episode, but more intrigued than anything else because I was like really curious. Okay, how's because I know they had a different guy voicing Zedd than the one that they had in Beast Morphers, which I wasn't really the biggest fan of. Even though it was only a brief moment, I wasn't like the biggest fan of when we heard like the new Lord Zedd's voice from the previous season. So I was definitely worried about like a new voice again. But I thought he pulled it off really good. And then the other thing that really intrigued me was I'm just kind of like, okay, so this is more than likely going to be another clip show episode. So I'm kind of intrigued if it's going to be, they bring Zedd back and the Rangers just defeat him on the spot, or if it turns out it's not actually Zedd. So those were like kind of my expectations going in. I didn't expect them to do that much with him. I figured with them bringing him back on a Halloween special, it's literally just going to be there for the fans and that's it. And yeah, after finishing the episode, I'm like, wow, I could not have been any more wrong.
Yeah, no, I definitely had the same hesitancy that you certainly did. Like, I was not impressed with Beast Morpher's voice acting, and so the idea of bringing back Lord Zedd, for me, I the first person I think about is Robert Axelrod. The idea of really doing Lord Zedd justice with the departure of him, not knowing that, who's going to voice him. Can they have that same gravitas and that same energy that Robert was certainly able to? And I think the idea of them bringing back the voice actor that did Evox to go ahead and do Lord Zedd was probably the best move that they probably could have done, because it really works for me in here. Whoever the suit actor is certainly felt too like just some of his movements felt like classic Lord Zedd. And I gotta give props to Simon Bennett in here for just really showcasing the threat that is Lord Zedd. I mean, the fact that he literally comes in and starts throwing not only Mucus and Slither around, but also Void Knight himself. Seeing him tackle the Dino Fury Rangers in here, along with even some of the other monsters, and kind of have his way, at least with some of the other monsters and stuff too. Really immediately just brings me back to classic Lord Zedd, and even more, because I felt like we haven't really seen him that physically interactive with monsters or Rangers before, or at least in a very, very long time. So to immediately show the threat and what's at stake with the idea of Lord Zedd being back, I was really impressed. And you do bring up a good point too, Stuart. The fact that this is a Halloween special, you do kind of go in there and thinking, okay, they are going to go ahead and just utilize clips and things like that. But I think this is the best clip show that I think we've had in regards to how they utilize the clips, the idea of continuing to remind us of Lord Zedd's history, right? Like, all the clips certainly felt warranted to certainly be in here. And I thought it was an interesting choice to not only have Dino Fury clips, but also Beast Morphers and MMPR clips as well, to really kind of just showcase the I guess the world building and the lore that is Power Rangers. I thought they did a really fantastic job this episode. I truly did.
Yeah, I would agree. In fact, I kind of, if Power Rangers continues after this season, I really hope that just becomes kind of more of a common thing when it comes to the clip show episodes. I would really love them to just start utilizing clips from previous seasons as well. Admittingly, it probably wouldn't work as well as it did with Beast Morphers, just because with that you had Netflix going on at the time. So like all the clips that younger kids could see that they probably wouldn't have the context for, they could have easily gone to Netflix to check a lot of these out. And unfortunately, they don't have that luxury anymore with Netflix no longer being around. But I'm sure there's going to be another streaming platform that's going to pick it up eventually. So I do hope they kind of continue this, maybe not like every season, but every like first or second season for every new series that they do. I think that would be kind of a really cool way to kind of get the younger kids to learn about like early history of when it comes to Power Rangers.
Well, I think I know Power Rangers right now, at least on Netflix, they do have Beast Morphers up there still, Ninja Steel, and the first 3 seasons of MMPR. So I feel like all the connective tissues that you certainly do need from this episode, you could definitely find on Netflix, which I thought was, I kind of like that setup that they wind up putting together in here.
Yeah, that's actually cool. I didn't know the first 3 seasons were still on there.
Yeah, the first 3 seasons are still on Netflix, even though they are pushing them over to YouTube right now. Also, I believe they wind up actually putting another grouping of Power Ranger MMPR episodes over on YouTube. So yeah, you can watch them on YouTube and Netflix if I'm not mistaken. Okay.
I think though my issue, sorry, I got to go on a little bit of a rant,
Yeah, go for
but
it.
my issue with the Power Rangers YouTube channel is that it's mixed with so many clips and episodes that, like, if you're trying to find a specific episode, good luck, because even the playlist section is so disorganized. I mean,
Oh,
I
okay.
just they need to hire someone to like fix that page up, because like, yeah, if you're going in to watch a specific episode from a specific season, good luck to you.
Oh, definitely. I definitely agree with you there. But yeah, overall, I was pretty impressed. I will say this episode too. I'm trying to think. Anytime I watch an episode, I always try and figure out too, like where they're getting their Sentai footage from, because we did get a heavy dose of Blue Ranger Sentai footage here in this episode. And I don't know if you're familiar with Ryusoulger or not, Stewart, but going back in this episode, when I think of the Ryusoulger episode, I believe this is the Melto dream episode, or the episode where like the real soldiers get trapped in some sort of like wish world or wish dream or some sort of dream world or whatever the case may be, and they're trying to figure their way out. And I think this is an episode where Melto takes that step forward, not so much as a leader of the team, but more like the strategist, the guy that they sort of come to for all their bright ideas. And I think this is the episode where he gets the opportunity to even talk to his previous master, who unfortunately passed. I believe that's the Melto episode that they utilize. But I thought for the most part, a great usage of Sentai footage to go ahead and mix it in with the woods and the hidden trail, or the spooky trail that Ollie found himself on in this week's episode. So overall, I was a really big fan of this episode. I thought the direction was was fantastic in here by Chris Graham. I even was really impressed with the second unit directors and some of the great sort of original footage and action sequences that we wind up getting the opportunity to see. I thought they handled this episode extremely well. So for me, if I had to grade it, definitely an A or an A plus for me this week for sure.
Yeah, I think that's what actually kind of surprised me too. So I actually didn't even know there was stock footage in the episode, because usually I can tell, because I think Brandon Mejia on his YouTube channel pointed this out. When it's Sentai footage, the suits tend to look a little bit shinier and less worn. So when I was watching this episode, I never noticed that transition. So I didn't notice any stock footage. The only stock footage I thought they used was with when they were explaining where Lord Zedd came from, and you got the actual clip show aspect of the episode. But one thing that really surprised me about this episode overall, I think, was just usually a clip show is just an excuse to not have to worry about spending too much money, not having to worry about, the cast having to work too hard. Usually it's just a way for the cast to take a nice break. And then, all they have to do is really deliver a few lines. And then, you don't even have to worry about filming fight scenes, because you can just rely on Sentai footage. But there was clearly a lot of fight scenes in here. Like when it came to Zedd, obviously, clearly that didn't come from the stock footage.
Right.
That was all original footage. So it just really amazed me, because the amount of minutes I want to say that they used when it came to the clip show, it felt very short compared to other clip shows where it ends up being at least a third of the episode. So way less of an actual clip show, and then also original fights, and that actually were pretty well done, even if they were short fights. There was clearly money and time spent into it, not just with directing the fights, but the fact that you even had visual effects for Lord Zedd when he was going all Kaioken for that brief moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was like, oh shit, they pissed off Lord Zedd here, like visor turning red and everything. I mean, yeah, it was pretty intimidating stuff to watch. But yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. For me, I think for me, the key to finding Super Sentai footage, sometimes I will agree, sometimes when it comes to the suits, you can kind of tell the difference. They do tend to be a little bit shinier, but for me, it's really the quality of the film. Like, even though I know that Ryusoulger was certainly filmed in high definition, I think because it has been a couple of years, it feels significantly different, or just looks significantly different to me compared to the high definition that they certainly use when it comes to the original footage in here. There is just a grainier aspect about the footage itself that at least pops to me. That, and then also just if you kind of scan the background, sometimes you can kind of see
Oh yeah.
wording, or you can see props that might not have been in like previous shots or previous scenes from the original footage, but look vastly different the second time around when you watch it. So those are the type of things that I really look for, even though, yeah, sometimes it is through the suits, but me, it's really more about the quality of it. But yeah, going back to the clip show aspect, and I think that's one of the things that I enjoyed about it, is that it wasn't so much a clip show of, hey, look at everything that you missed all season long. They showcase to us things that maybe you might have missed that were still important and relevant to this episode, like the idea of how to take down the howl creature or the monster, right? Bringing back episode 8 to show how they did it then and how they go back and actually are doing it now, and the idea of continuing to build Lord Zedd's history, and at least giving us a great history lesson and showing us and considering just the impact that Lord Zedd not only had in this episode, but potentially future episodes. I thought was a really great choice in how to go ahead and utilize it. I will say this. In the panel this past week, Simon Bennett did talk a little bit about Zedd, and he spoke about the idea of just the weight of the character, or at least him knowing the weight of the character. So I was actually really thrilled to hear just how seriously the production team went about it in this particular season, because that was truly one of my worries. But the fact that you have somebody like Simon Bennett that knew fans were going to be worried about it and taking it seriously, I think speaks volumes in regards to why he's such a good showrunner for the show.
Yeah, it you know what this episode kind of reminded me of in a lot of ways is like everything I was didn't like about the movie Turtles Forever. I don't know if you ever saw that movie.
Mm-mm.
It was an animated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie where they crossed over with the I think the show started in like 2003, like the 2003 Ninja Turtles, and they crossed it over with the not 90s, sorry, 80s Ninja Turtles. And while I don't want to say it was bad, because I did enjoy it, and I think like they had really great chemistry between like the two different teams. One thing I didn't like about it is that it really felt like the writers of the new Ninja Turtles just really patting themselves on the back for making like a superior Ninja Turtles show. So the entire time when it came to the 80s aspect, it was all like treated as a joke, which, yeah, that show is definitely way more of a comedy. But in the sense of when it came to a lot of its villains, the villains from the 80s show were like, taken down easily from the villains from the new 2000s show, and it was all, and the 80s Ninja Turtles barely did anything, because every time they were on screen, they kept getting their asses kicked. And it was always like the 2000s Ninja Turtles that had to save them. So, I was worried when they were bringing back Lord Zedd. I think a part of me was like, oh man, are they going to do Zedd that exact same way? Are they going to be like, oh, he was scary back in the 90s, but not anymore?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm happy to see it's almost like the opposite. It's like Zedd's the one, really wiping the floor with all the modern villains, which is something that really surprises me. But I mean, I guess they kind of did the same thing last time with Beast Morphers when they brought back Goldar. You have him just taking down the main villain that lasted for quite a while when you think about it, because not only was he in Dino Charge, but also Ninja Steel and a little bit of Beast Morphers. He just takes him down with no issues at all. So it's kind of funny. I feel like the showrunners for Power Rangers, with Simon Bennett specifically, I feel like he really knows the legacy that these villains have, and he knows how much old school fans really like these villains. And so I think he does a really good job of modernizing them so they're not quite as silly as they were in the 90s, but also still being able to keep that cool, terrifying aspect to them, to show that, hey, yeah, some things might have been silly back then, but these were still like, villains that scared children at the time. Like, I don't know anyone who didn't find Zedd terrifying as a kid.
Yeah, that was my worry, was that they were just going to come out and sort of neuter him. And then the idea of the Dino Fury Rangers would just wipe the floor with him with ease, like this guy wasn't an overlord, like they mentioned. And so the fact that they do sort of infuse, again, that threat and the seriousness and the power that somebody like Lord Zedd truly does contain. And I think it was also really imperative, too, the fact that Solon gives Ollie that history lesson and mentions the idea, like, the Rangers never defeated this guy. Like it literally came down to Zordon expelling his energy in order, sacrificing himself in order to take him down. But Lord Zedd's never been stopped by an actual Power Ranger team before. And so I think if anything, Simon just continues to add to the Lord Zedd legacy and just how powerful this guy absolutely is. And I'm a big fan of it. And so the fact that Simon Bennett did take this seriously, I got to give him props because, you know, while you remember, or while it reminds you of TMNT, for me, I get very Star Wars vibes here, in the sense that anytime that you're dealing with legacy characters, you're always going to have a fan base that loves these characters so much and don't want to see these characters either touched again, or brought back, because they're just worried that you're just going to ruin the character for me. But the fact that you do have somebody like a Simon Bennett that understands that and really does his due diligence to make Zedd still that big of a threat and that impressive, yeah, man, I absolutely loved it. So we literally see him reincarnated in this episode. The monster this week mentions the idea that he has the ability to reincarnate any monster from any time period in their lives, and he just happens to go ahead and reincarnate Zedd when he's at his most powerful moment. But he's able to go ahead and get him to follow his orders because of the fact that he's got a compliance collar. Again, we got a clip show from Beast Morphers about the compliance collar, how it certainly works. Villains having to do your bidding if you're commanding them to do so. But once that collar is gone, the gloves come off when it comes to Lord Zedd, and he starts beating that ass. And now that you see that Lord Zedd has dispersed, he even mentions the idea that he's going to maybe even try and find his staff. I fully expect this guy to certainly come back at some point in time. And we kind of talked about this a little bit, Stewart, in our Facebook Messenger, about what the future holds for Lord Zedd, and just some of the theories that are out there, some of the theories that we certainly talked about. Do you expect him to pop back up here in season 2, and even maybe beyond this?
What I think they're going to do is I think he's going to become like a main villain for the back half of season 2, or he's going to become a main villain for the next season. Now, I think you and I had the same idea of something that we both thought would be really cool if they did. And that is if they decided that they brought him back for the movie specifically, whenever that comes out, the Jonathan Entwistle, that's his name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the one that he's currently working on directing. I think that would be a really cool way to connect it to the show, because you don't really, because like I think one thing that a lot of people bring up as like a concern about connecting the show with the movies is that not enough people watch the show. So if they try to put the movie for a mainstream audience, it would definitely add a lot of confusion, because then people would probably skip it, because then they would assume that you have to watch the show in order to watch the movie. And let's face it, most people who just want to go watch a movie aren't going to do that. But I think with a character like Zedd, you don't necessarily have to have a full-on explanation. I think in the movie, you could just drop a line like, yeah, no, none of the Rangers ever defeated him, like they do in Dino Fury. And, if they even comes up with how he was defeated before in the movie, you could just say, hey, it's Zedd. He always finds a way to come back, or something like that. It'd be like one of those things where I don't think audiences would care if they don't explain how Zedd is suddenly back. But for the fans that do care, and the fans that want to know, they know where they can look to find the answers to that. They can look to it in the show Power Rangers Dino Fury. Again, I don't think that's what they're doing with it, but it would be kind of cool if they did.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I mean, even the leaked script in regards to the new rebooted Power Ranger movie, when the Illuminati addressed it last year, one of the things that they said was that that Zedd was possibly going to be the villain of the movie in the leaked script. That Illuminati wind up getting his hands on. And then even as recent as maybe like 2 weeks ago, when the script itself kind of leaked also, by Jinsaku, for certainly coming through with that information. He even mentioned in the script that it showed Lord Zedd as the potential villain in the movie. Now, again, that's a script that was written back in 2019. We do have a completely different writer on board with the movie. And as of right now, it feels very much like Hasbro is kind of up in the air in regards to really wanting to making sure that this new script is absolutely perfect before they push through with it. So whether or not Lord Zedd pops up in the movie, who certainly knows. But if we wanted to ask ourselves the question, like if he does pop back up in the movie, how does he come back? I do love the fact that a show like Dino Fury establishes sort of that continuity for it to certainly be there. And again, I'm very much with you, Stuart. I do think that he will pop back up in season 2 at some particular point in time. I think I was even I didn't watch the video, but I saw a thumbnail by another YouTuber, George Jr. I think he even teased the idea, like, could Serpentera certainly come back, right? I mean, we had a clip show, a clip of Serpentera in here. We even had a clip of like the Dark Rangers from the MMPR season also in here. So who's to say that when we go into season 2 of Dino Fury, not only do we get Lord Zedd with his staff, but maybe even Serpentera, maybe even some Dark Rangers for our Dino Fury Rangers to certainly have to face off against. I just think the idea of knowing that you have a legit reincarnated Lord Zedd out in the universe, he's got to make an impact in some way. And I definitely do think it'll happen in season 2 for sure. Whether or not he's going to be the main villain or the back half villain, I think if anything, he probably deserves to be the main villain just based off of who he is. I guess the question would then still become, Stuart, do the Dino Fury Rangers defeat him? Or like every other season of MMPR, the Rangers don't defeat him, and his true outcome then potentially comes in the movie. Could we have both, Stuart? I would love to see it happen in this series and in the movie also, if possible. Connective tissues, man.
Yeah, that would be really sick. And I think it's all going to depend on how big of a role he plays in next season. If it's a big role, if we see him in multiple episodes, I do think the Dino Fury Rangers will defeat him. But if we go like the first 5 or 6 episodes and he's not even seen, I'm going to say this: I don't think he's going to be defeated in season 2 if that's the case. I think he'll be a main villain if they are planning on destroying him in the show.
Yeah, I'm eager to see it. I'm eager to see if they're able to defeat him or if he escapes once again. Guys, we definitely want to know your thoughts in regards to the appearance of Lord Zedd. Did it live up to your expectations? Did it not? Definitely go ahead and let your thoughts be known. But I definitely do think the future is wide open for Lord Zedd to return, and I definitely do think he pops back up again in season 2. But listen, while Lord Zedd certainly stole the show in here, can we talk a little bit about Ollie this week, who to me truly had a great spotlight episode in here. So shout out to Kai Moya for coming through as Ollie, because I absolutely loved Kai in this episode, or I absolutely loved Kai in this episode as Ollie. Probably his best episode so far this season, if you ask me, and it really just continues to grow sort of the Ollie character. So the beginning of this episode, we see everybody trying to get their Halloween costumes and preparations ready around the office. Ollie boasts about the idea that nothing scares this guy, and it really leaves it up to the Rangers to decide, you know what, we're going to go ahead and put together a little haunted trail to try and scare the crap out of you. And Ollie winds up taking up the gauntlet here in this episode. And at first, definitely doesn't seem like nothing's really getting to this guy, honestly, Stuart, as he's going through there. And then, of course, he winds up confronting not only the monsters, but Lord Zedd himself. And while he states nothing scares him, Stuart, I got to say, considering the danger that this man was facing, and even having sort of knowing the full extent of what he was up against, to still want to fight and save his friends despite everything that you certainly know, screw being scared. I think Ollie truly did show just not only his bravery, but his courage in this episode. So, I mean, does anything truly scare Ollie?
Well, I thought it was very adorable at the end when he says, like, the big thing that scared him was not the fact of himself losing himself, but like losing his friends.
Yeah,
but yeah, I guess there's
really well.
Yeah, and I do know people, who are kind of similar to that in that sense of like just, they're not really like. I have one friend in particular who will joke about this a lot, who like constantly will say, "Yeah, I'm not honestly afraid of dying. Honestly, I welcome it when it comes. Not that he's suicidal, nothing like that, nothing dark like that. But he's always been very curious on what death is like, and that's why the idea of like getting killed doesn't really scare him. So that's what kind of Ollie reminded me of in this episode is that I don't think he was worried about himself getting hurt. Like, at the end when he mentions it's just the idea of losing his teammates or the people around him. That's I thought that was a kind of an adorable like character moment for him, you know, especially
Yeah.
because throughout the series, to me, he's kind of portrayed as like the bigger jerk out of the team, just with how stubborn he is.
Yeah,
And
he
so
can
it
be pretty
is cool
stubborn,
to
yeah.
see that he does have a soft spot though in this episode.
Yeah, no, I agree. I did kind of dig that line, especially because it does show extremely well in this episode just how much he truly was fighting to try and get his friends back. His willingness, despite knowing the history of Lord Zedd going up against an overlord, right? I just really like the way that Ollie's brain is wired. And I think for me, that's one why I'm a fan of his character so much. But yeah, I dug it. I mean, even faced with certain danger, to be able to have that bravery and courage and fortitude to go back out there to go ahead and save your teammates, I think really did go a long way for him in this episode. So I really do like the way that he's wired as a character. But I thought his astronaut suit was pretty great. Like you mentioned, the idea that the costumes that they had felt very them, and I thought that
Mm-hmm.
it was absolutely excellent for him in this episode. But Stuart, I keep telling people all the time, Amelia and Ollie is a thing.
Oh yeah.
Amelia and Ollie is a thing. There's some people that don't want to accept it or just don't see it, but I truly do see it when they talk with each other, and I wind up seeing it again here in this episode. Just the back and forth, the picking on each other sort of thing, right? Making fun, lightheartedness. You know, there are even moments when Amelia feels like she like falls into a little puddle of goo because she just feels so great about how adorable Ollie is. I mean, the fact that I think she even referenced it again here when he says something about why, what scares him about the idea of his, not, his friends being gone sort of thing. I think she even brings it up again in like episode 9 on the camping trip when he's being all nerdy with his technology, and she's like, isn't he adorable, or isn't it adorable seeing him in that mindset? So there are like little cute nods towards each other and little picking fun at each other. I really do think it's a thing, and I do think that by the end of this season or end of season 2, there might be something there in regards to shipping these two characters. But maybe that's just me, Stuart.
No, no, I see it too. You know, I think like the biggest thing is that because they both seem to, in their own way, really love a challenge. And so the biggest thing that they have, like with the two of them, is that you got Ollie who just doesn't believe in the supernatural, and then Amelia who does. And I like how you kind of have both of them trying to prove each other wrong, but also not trying to fully like get them to give up in their beliefs, if that makes sense. Like I'm sure like Amelia would never want Ollie to give up on science, and much like how Ollie would never want Amelia to give up on her hobbies of investigating the supernatural. But at the same time, they both have that kind of, well, I got to prove this person's wrong still, kind of thing going on between the two of them. It's kind of like did you ever see the Amazon show, I think it was Good Omens was the title, the Neil Gaiman
I've
show?
heard of it. I haven't watched it though. I've heard of it.
It was just so great. You have one dude from hell, one dude from heaven. Both of them have very
Oh, that's with
completely different
David Tennant,
ideologies.
right?
Yes, yes.
Yes, I've
It's
seen
an
it before. Yeah.
amazing show, and their
Okay.
chemistry is so great because they're like best friends, but they have such different ideologies. And that's how I feel about Amelia and Ollie. Like I think their chemistry, is great because of how much they disagree together, but yet
Yeah.
they still stay friends throughout the entire season.
Yeah, opposites definitely do attract. And I definitely do think that's a perfect example of that case happening here between these two. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong by the time we get to season 2, but I kind of dig it. I kind of dig it. Quick shout out to Solon in here also. There for the moral support for Ollie, I guess. Um she says, I'm here if you need moral support when he starts trying to fight Zedd. And then she decides, you know what, I gotta get you out of this situation, and winds up teleporting him back to the command center. And just great history lesson. We've seen Solon fight before, haven't we? I think we saw her face off against Slither, if I'm not mistaken, briefly on his debut. But yeah, I guess the idea of asking Solon to help Ollie fight against Lord Zedd's probably a terrible idea, though.
Yeah, very, very different levels of power right there.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But yeah, man, overall, I was really impressed with this episode, man. Lord Zedd showed out. Thank you so much, Simon Bennett, for really doing him justice again when I was really terrified and worried about not only how he would be utilized, but also the voice acting work. I think they immediately squashed all my concerns, and still allowing this Halloween special to truly give Ollie a great spotlight in here, to show his bravery and courage, and really have some great costumes overall. I was impressed, man. I probably like this Halloween special probably more than the Beast Morphers one, and that's saying something because I was a big fan. Not to say that I hate it all of a sudden. I still love that episode. I mean, Zoe is a freaking Viking. Give it to me all day long. I'll absolutely take it. But yeah, there was something about this Halloween special I absolutely was a big fan of, though. But what about you, Stuart?
Oh yeah, definitely. And yeah, I too also like the previous Halloween special. Despite my nitpicks about it, like not feeling fully in character with like the costumes the characters chose, specifically with Devin. I mean, to me, it felt like he was the type of person that would have embraced Halloween, but then having him be like the one who's like too cool for it really kind of felt out of character for me. But with that nitpick aside, I did think the Beast Morphers Halloween special was actually really funny and had some hilarious visual gags, specifically with Zoe's Viking. I thought they had a lot of fun. But this one, I really enjoyed just with them bringing Lord Zedd back, him feeling like the same Lord Zedd that we had like back in season 2 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And the fact that they refer to him as the most evil point of Zedd, I thought was interesting because when you look at him in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers over time, due to like complaints that you get from parents, to the networks, they had to make him so much sillier, episode after episode, and that's why in season 3 you have him getting married to Rita,
Yeah,
and
the
then his
marriage
staff
squabbles and stuff.
yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think it's like they almost forgot that his staff turns into a snake because we don't see that anymore. It could just be a production thing, like maybe it was too expensive, but things like that. They definitely tried to make him like sillier and sillier over time. And here it feels like they went back to like the very beginning of season 2 of Power Rangers, and that's the Lord Zedd that was resurrected, the one that we first saw.
Yeah, that I definitely agree with you. That's definitely the vibes that I'm certainly getting from it also. Oh, real quick honorable mention before we move on to people's comments. We did get a bunch of Dino keys utilized in here in this episode. I'm surprised I actually didn't write them down. I apologize, guys. I didn't take note of all the Dino keys that we wind up being utilized in this episode, but they did that. Again, I thought the direction in here was great. Second unit action. I thought the fight sequences were handled really well, and then we did get ourselves a solo morph too by Ollie. Since we're talking about Ollie, I'm trying to remember if we've ever had another solo morph. Like something wants to tell me that maybe Amelia had a solo morph once. Maybe even Izzy. I could be wrong. Do you recall another solo morph this season?
There definitely are, but I don't remember if they happen after this episode or if there were some before. But I'm pretty sure there's solo morphs in this.
I gotta say, man, I do like Kai's morph. Getting the opportunity to see it just by itself. The one thing that I love about Izzy's is her tiger claws that she sort of throws up and then like throws into the ground, and her hair and everything like that. It's been getting an opportunity to see Kai in here. I think like when I'm watching it when he's with other people and I see him punch the ground, I'm like, that's cool and all, but actually hearing the emphasis that Ollie puts behind his punch, he's like, I was like, oh shit, like he's here for a fucking fight. And I love the energy, man. I love the energy that Ollie really brings to this show. I do feel like Ollie is a character who definitely at times when it's not his spotlight episode can kind of fall to the side a little bit, and he's relegated to like really cheesy dad jokes and stuff, right? Like even in that previous episode, Amelia's like, hey man, you got to get new material, when Izzy's like, all right everybody, take a 5-minute break, and he's like, 5 minutes? I was hoping for 25. And she's like, hours or some shit like that. I can't remember what the line was, but when he's not relegated to just really cringe-worthy jokes, I really do enjoy Ollie as a character in here, man. So I really appreciated his solo morph we got this episode.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I'd say like one thing funny about this season though, when you bring up like the jokes, I do love how a lot of times they'll they'll bring back jokes that, you know, feel very dated now, but for like the first time I can think of in Power Rangers, they're commenting on how cheesy and dated the jokes are some of the times. Like what it was Javi that like when they're in the Zord said let's rock because they were fighting like a rock monster, and then Izzy is immediately like, wow, cringe.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely that social commentary, that like that fourth wall breaking almost to a certain extent. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Let's see here, guys. But remember, at the end of the day, guys, these are just simply our A+ opinions. We want to know yours, though. So what do you guys think about episode number 14 of Dino Fury? Let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below, guys. And with that, we will go ahead and at least jump into some of your guys' live viewer, or not live viewer questions, but your live comments. So let's go ahead and dive into a couple of these, Stewart. Jared, appreciate you coming through, Jared. He says, Lord Zedd coming back was amazing, but where's his staff, or is he looking for to get back at full power? Do you think he's in the process of looking for it now?
Oh yeah, I mean, they would not have dropped that line if that's not what his plan was. And plus, my prediction for season 2, just because we know that the actress who plays Shaw is going to be making an appearance in the show, I feel like we're going to see him, you know, breaking into, or maybe not see him, because I feel like
is that where his staff is at now?
It should be, right, because the last time we saw it was in Beast Morpher. So wouldn't it be at Grid Battle Force?
Oh shit, Stewart.
I don't think we're gonna see Grid Battle Force, because recreating those sets would be probably a little bit too expensive. But we might get like a reference when Shock shows up saying he broke into Grid Battle Force and stole the staff.
Yo, that would be crazy. I love that connection. I love that connection. I hope that's how it comes together. I know you've seen the rest of Dino Fury. I'm assuming that doesn't happen in season 1 though.
Oh yeah, no.
Okay.
That's why I brought it up. If it happened, I wouldn't have said anything.
Okay. Adrian, appreciate it, Adrian. I enjoyed this Halloween episode much more than Beast Morpher's Halloween episode. Yeah, I feel you there. I definitely was a big fan of this one for sure. DHR2, he says, let's face it, Zedd was the highlight and the fights in this episode, but did not like the ending. Felt cheesy as hell. Sorry for my spelling. Oh, you're fine with the spelling. I definitely do get the cheese factor for sure, but I guess I appreciated the lightheartedness, and I think it goes a really long way in regards to just showcasing who the Ollie character certainly is. I mean, you gotta have those cheesy moments for the kids, you know, the life lesson.
And plus, like, I feel like there's always an extra layer of cheese when it comes to their holiday specials.
Yeah.
It's why, like, until Beast Morphers, I actually used to skip them. Like, I still haven't seen any of the Dino Charge or any of the holiday specials for any of the other Nickelodeon seasons.
Yeah, you could probably skip those anyway.
Yeah, exactly. The only ones I've seen were Beast Morphers and Dino Furies, and that's just because they have like more interesting premises around them.
Yeah, no, I definitely get you. Marcelino, he does say, I think they had Izzy be a leprechaun because both of them are green. Hey.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
That too, man. Thank you very much, Marcelino, for that. Blossom says, Javi's costume looks creepy. As hot as Javi is, zombies are scary. So you're definitely feeling Izzy's mood too, who got terrified. But yeah, look, Warden Garcia would be enough. He doesn't even have to be a zombie. I mean, you just show up and yeah, that's terrifying enough. Let's see here. Power Rangers ready. He did bring this up too. He says, yeah, did Hasbro Pulse's Dino Fury panel yesterday help you with the episode? Simon says, get it. Said that they tried very hard to respect Lord Zedd and Robert. Yeah, it definitely put me to ease, because I think I watched the panel before even watching this episode. And so they didn't really spoil so much for me, but it was a case of like, okay, at least maybe going into the episode, I definitely had a different viewpoint of what the episode was certainly gonna give me. So Rob does say this episode, while showcasing Ollie as a bit of a jerk, provided a solid possibility of getting Zedd back for future episodes. I didn't really find Ollie so much as a jerk in this episode. I mean, granted, listen, he does hit Amelia with the little joke of weirdest mosquito I've ever seen. I thought that was actually pretty funny, but I didn't find it too jerkish. Did you find Ollie as a jerk in this episode at all?
Stubborn, but I wouldn't say a jerk. Just
I can be stubborn.
he's so sure that nothing can scare him, and I can see how that can kind of come off as being a jerk. But I guess it's just that I have a friend who's very similar to Ollie in a lot of. Wow, I'm getting all the names mixed up. I'm sorry. I have a friend that is very similar to Ollie, and so yeah, like I definitely can kind of see like at times when you see like out of context moments with him, it can come off as that. But I do think overall he definitely does have a good heart, of course.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Blossom says, as much as I miss Robert Axelrod, the new guy of Zedd was wonderful too. He did Robert proud. I thought he did. I thought he did pretty good too. I thought if you are gonna make look, it's much better than what we got last year.
Mhm.
So I'll definitely take this any day of the week. I am surprised though, and I'm not gonna hark or get on Hasbro's case about this too much, because I do think the fact of even bringing back Lord Zedd and doing him justice certainly made Robert Axelrod pretty proud. But I guess for me, I would be lying if I said I didn't scan the beginning and ending of this episode to see if there was like a in memory of Robert Axelrod somewhere up there, which I unfortunately didn't see. But I think the idea of how they handled Zed alone was certainly worthy. So while one person loves the voiceover for for Zed, Izzy here's on the other side of things. He said Zed without Robert Axelrod just doesn't hit the same, but it was still good to see him. Lord was swole too. Yeah, Lord
Oh
Zed
yeah.
was gigantic in this episode, but yeah, maybe it doesn't quite hit the same. But I actually I thought he did pretty commendable job in regards to it, Stuart.
I feel like it's as good as we're gonna get.
Yeah.
The problem is that he has such a unique voice that I don't think any voice actor can imitate. He has like a weird natural echo to his voice, if that makes sense. And
Mm.
it's like something that you can only recreate with like sound designs. I don't know anyone in real life who can do that voice without sound effects. And Robert Axel, or sorry, Axel, what was his last
Axelrod?
name?
Axelrod?
Axelrod. I'm sorry. Yeah. Robert Axelrod is just one of those rare, really talented voice actors who can just pull that off.
No, I definitely agree with you. Let's see here. What else we got? Blossom says, the legendary database that Solon showed Ollie was presented pretty dang well. She said, sorry to swear. What's no what? Yeah. But she said, but it was pretty damn good. Okay, I was like, I hope you didn't mean dang as a swear word, but okay, I get what you're saying there. Yeah, I thought the legendary database was pretty cool. I'm glad that Mick wound up leaving it behind. I wonder if he left it behind specifically for clip show purposes, or just history lessons, but it worked. It worked out well.
Mhm.
Let's see. Power Rangers Legacy says much better use of stock footage than Beast Morphers. Surprise, Beast Morphers cast were used in stock footage just like episode 8. Yeah, I thought the stock footage was really well handled here.
Yeah, it's like kind of a way to have a crossover without having to like actually have a crossover with COVID and everything.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Marcelino does give us some correction. He says this was Lord Zedd's second fight ever. The first one was when he fought White Ranger Tommy. So thank you very much for the clarification there, Marcelino. But
Mhm.
yeah, a rarity still, to certainly say
Oh
the
yeah.
least. You know what I mean? So the fact that we got to see him in this capacity, I mean, even just tossing Void Knight aside, like fuck, I thought I was supposed to be terrified of Void Knight this season, and Lord Zedd just manhandled this guy.
Yeah, no, that's what's so funny is that Zed. The only time I can remember seeing him fight was when he fought Tommy as the White Ranger and just completely kicked his ass. And I remember as a kid, I don't remember if I had this thought as a kid, but at some point I had the thought of, if he's this powerful, why is he always just sending one monster a week to fight the Rangers when he can clearly take them all
Clearly
out
do it
on
by
his
himself.
own? But I
Yeah.
think it just comes down to, he's an emperor. He has that mentality of, I shouldn't have to lift a finger for this. I'm an emperor. I should have my minions do it for me.
Yeah, I don't need to get my hands dirty. That's what I got these chumps for. Let's see here. What else we got? Ice Cream. What's up, Ice Cream Man? Appreciate it. He says last 3 episodes of MMPR season 3 are gone from Netflix. Those were the Alien Ranger episodes. I wish they can come back the older seasons to Netflix. Yeah, I do think I didn't know that. So thank you very much for the heads up, Ice Cream Man. I appreciate that. But yeah, we'll see if
Oh,
they ever
okay. So
make that
like
transition. Oh, last 10
I was
episodes
gonna
he meant.
say,
Okay.
I'm like Alien Rangers is more than 3 episodes. Yeah, the last 10 episodes. That makes sense.
Gotcha. Let's see here. Emmanuel agrees with you about your take on YouTube. Says Stewart, you're right. They got to organize other season episodes in chronological order. Yeah, it does look like a mess. And even Jared agrees with you. He says when it comes to Hasbro YouTube channels with Power Rangers episode clips are all over the place, and that was one of the
Yeah.
concerns that I think that we had going into their move over to YouTube. Financially, it's probably working out great for them, but if you're a Power Ranger fan, yeah, man, it's definitely annoying as F. Tony Robinson, what's up, Tony? Appreciate you coming through. Good to see you in here as always, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think one way they could totally improve it is you make like two playlists for each season. Like you go MMPR season 1 episodes, MMPR season 1 clips. So that way, if people just want to watch compilations of clips, they can do that. But if they're looking for a specific episode, they can do it that way. You know. Hire me, Hasbro. I will organize it for you.
For real, like please just give me access to your YouTube page. I'll just organize shit for you all day. What else? Oh, hold on. I think we got one. Emmanuel, he says, do you guys think Zeto's battleizer will be used by everyone or be the only weapon that can take out Zedd? I'm under the impression, I haven't seen them. I don't know if it's something that they tackle in season 1 or not with Zeto's battleizer, but as far as I know, at least clip show wise, I mean not clip show, but Ryusoulger footage wise, it's just the Red Ranger that uses the battleizer. Now, granted, we've seen them take liberties in regards to having Amelia rock the fire blazing armor or something like that first. So it's it's always a possibility that somebody else could utilize it, but I'm under the impression it's just going to be a Zato thing.
I think it'll happen for more Rangers in the future of season 2, only because like I feel like the last couple of seasons they've been really trying to pass the battleizers around, whereas like kind of when you look at the earliest seasons of Power Rangers, it was always funny because you'd see all the guys would get battleizers but none of the girl Rangers would. So I feel like that's something they're trying to fix. So it looks like they've been trying to fix that by having the battleizers just be passed around this season or the last few seasons.
Yeah, we should definitely see how that's going to turn around. Then, it would be cool to see other people definitely utilize it for sure. Let's see here. I'm just scrolling through some of these comments. Adam. Oh, damn it! I just lost it. Where'd you go again, Adam? Let me find your comment. Adam says, I love that the compliance collar was brought back for Dino Fury. Definitely shows why Zedd was acting like a servant for sure. I even love that. I think out of this episode, I think I added this to my list of nominees for awards also. I think it had best moment. There's a category, 2 categories, I think, for episode 14. Best moment and best mucus moment. Or like maybe best scene and then best mucus moment. I love the shot of Mucus trying to talk to the sorcerer or whoever it was, asking him like, how'd you get Lord Zedd to be so nice? The idea that like our boss here like hates us all the time.
Oh yeah.
I absolutely love that.
Oh yeah, you're not supposed to be nice to your employees. Yeah, are you hiring?
Yeah, are you hiring? I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, I think the comedy this season has been on point a lot. And I think one thing that helps is something that they kind of got right with Beast Morphers is that like when a joke doesn't land, they don't try to drag it until it finally lands, because then that just makes it worse. This is what I hated about the comedy in Ninja Steel. You know, like whenever a joke didn't land, it felt like they really wanted to repeat that joke over and over until you finally laughed, but I never did. And so it would just get annoying. Whereas Beast Morphers, when you had Ben and Benny, like Ben and Betty, wow, I'm like mispronouncing everyone's name today. With Ben and Betty, like, yeah, they were in every episodes, but their gags would be really short. Like they would rarely go on for more than a minute. So they wouldn't fully distract from the episode, you know?
Yeah, no, I get you there. Power Rangers Legacy says, I'm glad that they mentioned that this new Zedd doesn't have his staff because this was a new version, though has memories of the original Zedd. Well, technically, this is the original Zedd, if I'm not mistaken, Stewart. I mean, I guess it's
Yeah.
the idea of like, it's just pretty much reincarnation. So you're literally bringing him back to life, but literally at is most powerful at this point. So I get what you're saying though, Power Rangers Legacy for sure. So yeah, he definitely has all his memories and everything like that. I think the reason why I don't know why they don't if they reincarnated him, why they didn't bring it with the staff. If you can reincarnate an actual physical form, you should be able to do the same thing for an inanimate object, but I guess not. I guess maybe it's maybe that's just not how his powers work. But I'm very much under the impression that this isn't like a clone. But if you mention the idea that we're reincarnating, that tells me you're bringing back the original back to life.
Mhm. Yeah,
Is
well
that how
then
you is that how you took it though?
yeah, I think like if you ask too many questions about like what the rules are with it, then you get into like some confusion. Then it's going to get confusing because then my biggest question is, okay, so if he can bring back people but not the objects they had when they, from that time period that they brought him back from, how did their clothes come back with them? Those are the type
I
of
get you.
questions we're going to be asking. So I think it's just easier to go with the flow and say that maybe the staff is just a little bit too powerful for his magic, because he does mention that his magic isn't at full power when he resurrected Lord Zedd. So it could be a thing in that kind of sense. Like maybe the staff is just too powerful.
Okay. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It certainly could be that. I did. Hey, the girlfriend came and delivered me some coffee, guys. That's right.
Nice.
My baby mama coming through for me as always. Let's see here. It totally surprised me. I had no idea she was going to pop up like, "Hey, welcome to the live chat, girl." That works. Marcelino, we don't talk about the Dark Rangers. You brought back some trauma. Sorry, Marcelino. Somebody give this man a hug. I'm so sorry, Marcelino. Hey, it's not me that brought it back. They put it in the episode. I'm just talking about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm surprised they used that clip because that's something that I feel like fans make fun of all the time.
Well,
Even
you
the
know what,
comic books recently made fun of it.
guys, you heard it here first. Well, I don't know. I don't know if George Jr. brought this up. He brought up the Serpentera. I'm bringing up Dark Rangers. Dark Rangers season 2 of Power Rangers. Okay,
See, I feel like they could do it right,
do it exactly.
yeah,
Give me
and
an upgrade.
if they still have the costumes left over from their previous crossover, they could just do a paint job on it and make it look like the original MMPR, but like with the darker versions of those colors.
I'm gonna have to put this clip aside so that when Dark Rangers do pop up, like, see, we told you, we told you. Izzy, speaking of which, she says, is there a way for them to bring back the Dark Rangers and somehow connect them to the ones in the comics?
Ooh.
It could be
It
coming
would
full
be
circle.
expensive, but I'd love. Okay, it would look silly and it'd be expensive, but I would love to see a recreation of the Dark Rangers from the comics, but as rubber suits for Dino Fury. I don't know if they'd have the budget to create like even more original suits though for the show, because I feel like the Zedd one alone had to have been really expensive. But if they were to recreate those suits as rubber suits for Dino Fury, oh my gosh, I think that would actually be the coolest thing.
And even Ice Cream Man says, man, the Dark Rangers in the comics are a huge upgrade from the show
Oh
version.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So who knows? Maybe we get their we get them in here.
I mean, we got the comic book connections with the Morphin Master, so it's like anything's possible at this point.
Yeah, anything's possible at this point. Man, we got some people that are just not a fan of Ollie in this show. And hey, that more power. Hey, if you don't, that's cool. Blossom says Ollie was a bit of a boastful jerk. Even DHR says Ollie sucks as a character. He's just an ass, especially in episode 18. I haven't gotten that far yet,
Ooh,
so I haven't
I
gotten
think
that
I
far
know
yet. So
what he's
maybe.
talking about in that. But to be fair, I do think Ollie does learn his lesson at the very end of it. If episode 18 is the one I'm thinking of, because yeah, there are definitely two Ollie kind of focused episode, or not actually, one of them is a Izzy focused episode where Ollie comes off as a real big jerk in that episode, but I
Okay.
think he makes up for it at the end. Personally, as someone who can really relate to Izzy in that episode, I personally think he gets redeemed at the end of it. But then there's also another episode that I will not spoil the plot for, because it's it's pretty cool, like towards the end of the season, at the season finale, where I can definitely see people thinking of Ollie as being very controlling, but I totally, again, not justifying it, but I totally get where he's coming from. And, you know, I can't say I wouldn't act the same way as him if I was in his shoes
Okay,
during the season finale. Yeah.
mentally noted. Then, as I go into episode 18, I'll definitely keep that in the back of my head when I watch the episode for sure. Blossom, I don't know about Ollie and Amelia being the thing. I feel like Blossom's been pretty firm on that idea. Power Rangers ready. He says, I would love if Ollie and Amelia got together, even though they have a bickering friendship. We have had 2 relationships in Beast Morphers with Robbie and Roxy, and Nate and Zoe. Absolutely. Let's see here. Adam Perea says the Beast Morphers Halloween episode made me cringe. This one in Dino Fury felt natural, like a real Halloween episode. Yeah, I was a really big fan of this one, man. I was super impressed. Super impressed. Where did I'm trying to get a hold of my comments here. Sorry, there's just so many. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. Okay. Video DVD says, man, I thought the whole Lord Zedd thing was clickbait, but it turned out real. Is Rhea Ghul a Sporix beast or not? And what will happen with Lord Zedd? 2 big questions for me.
That's actually a real good question. The first one specifically, because I actually didn't think of that till just now. They definitely never say he's a Sporix, so I'm really curious to learn his history.
And he got away this episode too.
He did. So it's very possible we might actually get some more backstory on him. I'm kind of curious now.
That's a good question, Video DVD. Some very important questions to ask. And what will happen with Lord Zedd? Yeah, I think me and Stewart are definitely under the impression, like you definitely can't bring Lord Zedd back with a one-off and not do something with this guy. Now, whether or not he comes back for Dino Fury, or if this is sort of a reintroduction to Lord Zedd to introduce him in maybe a future movie, who certainly knows. But I think Stewart and I are definitely under the impression he's coming back for Dino Fury season 2 at some point in time, for sure.
All I can say, though, is that if like, by chance he doesn't have that much of a big presence in season 2, just be patient, because, again, there's no way they brought him back with the intention of only utilizing him in that one episode. So even if we don't see him again for a while, patience, everyone. We will. He will come back, I'm sure.
Let's see here. Shout out to Captain RGD for certainly coming through. What's with the video reply? That sounds crappy. Same thing when Beast Morphers did it. I'm trying to think what he's referring to.
Is it Is it the actual clips with them being like dubbed over?
Oh, maybe that's what he's referring to.
Because that's like a legal thing. They don't have the licensing for the same music that they had back then. So, and because they don't have like the audio separated from, or they don't have like the audio. I'm not an audio person, so I don't know what the actual terms are. So I feel like Indy's gonna like just cringe hearing me try to explain this. They don't have the audio of the dialogue and the audio of the music on separate levels, so they're just together on one. And once they're together, it's almost it can be done, but it's really difficult to separate the music from, you know, the regular audio. And since they don't have the raw version of either, they end up just having to redub the whole thing. Is a lot easier and a lot more time efficient.
I definitely agree with you there. Let's see here. Sarav does confirm this was the first solo morph that we've had. So great job. Great use of it for sure. Marcelino Vasquez says Lord Zedd coming back gave a theory on what could happen in the possible Ryusoulger adaptation, but I'll wait until Dino Fury is over to see if anything changes my mind. You'll find out why. Okay, I'll look forward to that. I look forward to finding out. Let's see here. Tony Robinson again confirms, Grid Battle Force has his staff. So if we are bringing back Commander Shaw, I think you nailed it right on the head, Stuart, in regards to maybe why Commander Shaw pops up this season. Like, hey, we got broken into, man. We got broken into. He's loose.
If they do, oh my gosh, if they do somehow, or if they're somehow able to show like bits of Grid Battle Force and Zedd like actually breaking into there, that would be really cool.
That would be pretty fucking awesome. I don't know. I'm sure Rory Davis is probably busy. It would be cool just to see Lord Zedd smack him out of the way or something like that. Just to see Devin try and defend the Grid Battle Force would be pretty cool. But you know what? Just get an opportunity to see Commander Shaw like she did in Beast Morphers coming through with her 2 big ass guns, like ready to like fucking fight herself. Like I would love to see Commander Shaw standing in front of Lord Zedd. Like I want to see you try and get into this vault, my guy. Like, can we get a moment like that? I would love to see it.
That would be really cool.
Commander Shaw is just a badass bitch, man. I love Commander Shaw. Shout out to Commander Shaw.
My favorite shot is still like in Beast Morphers when she like shows up holding the big guns. I'm like, oh man, can we see her in action, please?
That's what I'm saying. I need to see her in action more often. Shout out to Harka for certainly coming through. Thank you very much, man. Thank you. Let's see here. I'll probably take just a few more and then we'll let you get out of here, Stewart. I know you got a day ahead of you. I will say this Power Ranger Legacy. It says David Fielding himself on Twitter was upset about Zedd's voice in Dino Fury when someone tweeted him. He got angry at Simon Bennett. That's why don't listen to one clip or other people. And I guess for me, I would ask David, like, did you see the Beast Morphers episode? Did you watch the Beast Morphers episode? Because this was 10 times.
I don't
worse.
think he was angry, but he was definitely upset. Like you can definitely see that to him. What he said is that it kind of makes Lord Zedd feel like something that anyone can do now. Like it doesn't feel as unique without Robert's voice behind him. Now it just feels like a insert voice type of character to him. And you know, like I don't agree with his comment, but I definitely see where he's coming from, especially because I think it's safe to assume like he and Robert had to have been close friends. So it's a lot different for us where we only know Robert from reputation and just from his work of many other shows that he's done, whereas he knows him personally. So it's definitely a very different point of view in his eyes. So yeah, while I don't fully disagree with him, I definitely see where he's coming from. Yeah,
I can understand that. Because I mean that is a worry. I mean, you do open up a case of like, hey, maybe we can bring Zord, Lord Zedd back, 3 seasons from now and just get anybody. So I kind of get what he's saying. Hey, Cindy's getting a shout out. What's up, Adam? He says, hey, girl. Hey, watch out. Watch how you talk to my girl, man. Don't be trying to pick her up. I'm just kidding. Let's see here. Oh my God, she's actually in the chat. What the fuck? Cindy popped up in the chat. She says, "Hey Adam, sorry for the interruption. Just bringing my Mr. A+ some coffee to keep him going for y'all." I see. This is why. This is why she's my baby mama. This is why we eventually one day will get married. I'm sure after having our little toddler. So I appreciate it. Thank you, Cindy. All right, guys. I think with that, we'll wrap up, guys. So, yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for your participation, your thoughts on this week's episode of Power Rangers Dino Fury. So thank you very much, guys. An excellent episode. I continue to be really impressed with this season, man. I truly do. I think there's maybe like 2 episodes all season long right now that really I haven't minded, but haven't really punched me in the gut like, wow, this was a fantastic episode. So I feel like maybe out of this entire season, maybe 2 episodes have made me feel that way. But fuck, I've been so impressed, Stuart. I've been really impressed how they've handled things this year.
Yeah, I think I want to give like one more thought on just Dino Fury as a whole of why I think it's doing really good this season. It's the first time in Power Rangers that I can think of since the Disney era where you just have scenes where characters talk to each other and it doesn't have to move the plot forward and it doesn't necessarily have to add to the message of the day. Sometimes characters can just have a normal conversation and that's totally fine, which I love. And that's something that you didn't really get to see a lot of in the previous seasons on Nickelodeon. And then also on top of that, I think that the messages are so much more relatable now because I did this whole thing on Twitter where I talked about how episode 18, I think that's the Izzy focused episode. There's one episode that focuses on her, and oh my gosh, it's like something I could totally relate to, like from back in both middle school and high school. I won't fully spoil what the plot is, but you'll definitely know when you see it. It's a really good episode in that sense. And then just even episode 16, I think it's my favorite this season, where we get the backstory on the Gold Ranger, and then we find out that there's a couple of secrets Zato has had, and I was surprised where they went with it. It felt very mature for Power Rangers. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah, because I'm really eager to see like what these secrets truly are. Like, what exactly are they going to be revealing to us? So I'm pretty impressed. I'm pretty impressed. Real quick, Stuart, before I let you go, I do want to bring up two little things here, because while the next transition for me will be the Hasbro Power Rangers panel and talking about it, did you have the opportunity to check out the panel yourself, the Dino Fury one at least?
I did not, so I'm actually kind of intrigued.
Yeah. Okay. So we actually did get two clips, if I'm not was it two clips, maybe one clip? I can't recall off the top of my head, but you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and actually.
I think AJ sent me one of the clips though with the really interesting looking vehicle, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So let me go ahead and pull that up real quick for you guys. If anything, we'll talk about this, but let me first off share audio. Dino Fury. Here we go. This is the sneak peek. So adjust your volumes as needed, guys. But yeah, sneak peek at Power Rangers Dino Fury Season 2 and some cool new quote-unquote toys. So here we go.
I've hooked me a big one. Better reel in me goldfish.
Zato, any help right now will be great.
1 second.
That Dino Fury cycle, baby.
Ion is gonna love this thing.
Where the fuck are they at, though?
This is your farewell party, Goldie. Any song requests? I like a good sea shanty myself.
Dino Fury Cycle, Plasma Blast. You're right, mate.
Okay, we'll call this one a draw.
Yeah, you better run.
Need a hand with those chains?
Nah, I'm good. Oof, that is a great set of wheels.
Yeah,
you and Solon knocked it out of the park.
That Dino Fury cycle.
Couldn't have done it if you hadn't given up your present.
It was the right thing to do after messing up yours. Besides, I get to drive it back to base, right?
It's way more fun than teleporting.
Oh, yeah. Best
festival ever.
I love it. It's better than teleporting. Okay. Hey, if you say so, man.
Yeah, I would have to take your word for that because that looks like fun.
Yeah, it really does.
I'm wondering if they're selling Hot Wheels, or not Hot Wheels, sorry. What are they called? Power Wheels, I want to say. The basically kind of like mini cars for like little kids to drive. Because I'm wondering, if I was like a 7-year-old and I was watching Dino Fury, I would go crazy for a vehicle like that.
Yeah, I absolutely would too. I'm pretty sure they probably got to sell this in some sort of capacity or another. I think for me, what really impressed me was just the special effects, just the graphics alone. Like they look pretty clean for like original special effects and original footage, because this is an original vehicle. This is not in Ryusoulger at all. So all this footage that you're seeing here is certainly American made. I was impressed with just visually what it looks like.
Yeah, a lot of it actually kind of reminds me of Disney era Power Rangers. I think I was mentioning to AJ because they used to have like a lot of these back in the day, back when it
Jungle
was
Fury
on Disney.
had one.
Yeah, They would all have like their own like motorcycles. So it's kind of cool seeing them come back to this. Like I know it's there literally just to sell toys, but you know what? If I'm entertained in the process, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, we've definitely had a few. I want to say Lost Galaxy had one also.
Oh,
I could be
yeah.
wrong.
Wild Force is the one I remember the most, because I remember you had the Red Ranger trying to ride it like he would like a horse, and of course he kept falling over. And at least in the first episode, they introduced them.
But yeah, it looks great, and I gotta say, they also have another vehicle that's supposed to be coming out too. That I think it's a more motorcycle sort of thing. I think this is 3 wheels, whereas I think they also have like a T-Rex motorcycle that they're going to be debuting. It does make me wonder if this is something that maybe only the Red Ranger and Ion will utilize, and then everybody else maybe gets their own type of T-Rex cycle. I really have no idea. But there are 2 different vehicles that we're going to be getting this season, which actually kind of surprises me. Both of them very original concepts. But to me, it just goes to showcase the idea of Power Rangers and Hasbro really pushing the envelope on what they want to create for their own franchise and all the originality that's going to be coming out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, really impressed, guys. Really impressed. Oh, real quick shout out to Johnny Marrero for certainly coming through. Power Rangers Ready says, welcome Ion Adam. Oh, welcome to Ion Adam. Sorry this spoiled you to his Ranger suit and brand new footage. Hey, listen, I'm familiar with the suit from Ryusoulger. This didn't really give much away in regards to storyline purposes for me. It does make me curious as to what that planet is. I immediately thought, like, is that Rafcon? Like, is that what Rafcon looks like now? For some reason, since I'm watching Zenkaiger right now, it just reminds me of like the Toji Tendo world that I was looking at. But
it's
yeah,
secretly a setup for that season.
You've heard it here first, guys. Zenkaiger next adaptation. No, I'm just kidding.
No. It doesn't adapt Zenkaiger. It ties into Zenkaiger. It's going to be the bridge between Power Rangers and Sentai.
It's all connected. But yeah. All right, guys. I think other than that, I think that's going to do it for us today in regards to Dino Fury review for you guys. Stewart, good to have you here, man. Thank you very much for certainly letting your thoughts be known. And listen, if there's any other Dino Fury episode that winds up happening this year, excuse me, that you certainly want to feel free and join us for to certainly talk about, it definitely feels as though the viewers would not mind that whatsoever, as I certainly wouldn't either. So it would be great to have you back. So yeah, just let me know if you ever want to join us again for another Dino Fury episode review.
Yeah, definitely. I'll let you know for episode 16 in particular. But unfortunately, I get my work schedule week that I'm working, so I don't know if I'll be working that day. But I'll definitely let you know.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, just let me know, man. All right. Other than that, Stewart, if people do want to find you on social media, where can they find you, sir?
You guys can follow me on Twitter at TurboStew01 right down here.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you, Stewart, for certainly coming by. I know you got a rest of the busy day for you, so enjoy work. And I guess I'll see you tomorrow on A+ Hero Report.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll see you tomorrow.
Awesome, man. Take care, bro.
You too. Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. And that is the wonderful Stewart for certainly coming through today for a big episode, which I'm really glad we got the opportunity to sit down with him and talk a little bit about this week's episode, man. Always great to have a co-host on here, get other people's perspectives and point of views and things like that. Maybe it's something I should really decide to tackle or dabble in a little bit more going forward, and trying to bring other people on board our show here to kind of hear their thoughts also. Johnny, you also say Lord Zedd for possible Ryusoulger adaptation. Possible. I think he's going to come back. I do think we're going to see him again in season 2 of Dino Fury. Whether or not the Dino Fury Rangers are able to defeat him, we'll definitely see. Because I do think that Lord Zedd would certainly go a long way in regards to being a villain for either a future season also, or even the upcoming movie that me and Stewart were just talking about and theorizing about. So we'll see what happens in regards to that. But guys, with that out of the way, we will be moving on to our next topic, which is, in fact, Hasbro PulseCon 2021, guys. Again, it's a 2-day event taking place today, this afternoon also, but we also got part 1 as of yesterday, and Hasbro PulseCon kicked off with a full hour, if not a little bit more than a full hour, of Power Rangers. We wind up getting the Dino Fury panel first. After that, we wind up getting like a product line panel. And then after that, we wind up getting Boom Studios panel, where you had Ryan Parrott being interviewed by Brandon Davis from comicbook.com. Great interviews. Especially when it comes to the Dino Fury panel, getting the opportunity to see not only the Dino Fury Rangers there for the Dino Fury panel, but also Simon Bennett himself, the man, the myth, the legend, as Tessa, I think, referred to him as, to certainly say the least. But getting to hear this cast, their various stories, even the blooper reel in here, I thought was fantastic. This panel I thought was great in so many ways, in the sense that it just continues to solidify why this is such a great cast. You know, I absolutely love this cast. I love just how interactive they tend to be, especially when it comes to social media, interacting with their fans and things like that. I feel like they've definitely have taken the game to a completely different level. Not to say that Beast Morphers was certainly slacking, but I definitely do think that that the actors have definitely taken it upon themselves to put themselves out there and really interact with the crew and, or I should say, the fans and stuff. And it's been pretty amazing, to certainly say the least. So we talked about it a little bit when we talked about Dino Fury episode 14. You know, Simon Bennett at this panel did speak about the idea of the recreation of Lord Zedd, the how serious they certainly took it as well. So I thought it was pretty cool to kind of get that type of insight. Now, they did tease the upcoming second season. While we didn't get ourselves an official trailer for the second season, they at least give us some teases to look forward to. So according to Simon Bennett, he says that the saga continues. It picks up a short time after the end of the previous season for season 1. It says the saga of Void Knight continues along with Santora, so their story will continue in season 2. And then we're going to get more details on Rafcon and what came of its people, according to Simon Bennett. He also references, and I'm reading this from TokuNation.com. It says also relationships between characters grow, and sometimes in a very special way. And I think once he immediately referenced that, I immediately went to Ollie and Amelia in regards to when he said that. I could be wrong, but who knows? Clearly new power-ups, new Zords, and there also is going to be a new Ranger vehicle. So they did go ahead and showcase to us the Dino Fury cycle, which we went ahead and talked a little bit about. Absolutely fantastic. This is not in Ryusoulger at all. So this is very much original footage that Hasbro is in fact creating for this vehicle. And I believe there's another a T-Rex cycle that they're going to be creating also to look forward to. So there's a lot of movement going on when it comes to season 2. But clearly they don't give away too many storyline details. That's something for us to certainly follow up on. Yeah, man, I was really pumped for this panel. And I think for me, they did also make 2 other announcements out of this Dino Fury panel. The Dino Fury Green Ranger is available now on the Power Rangers Legacy Wars mobile game. So if you do play Legacy Wars, they have officially introduced Izzy to the list of characters that you can certainly play as. And honestly, for me, when it comes to this panel, my favorite moment, outside of seeing Simon Bennett and the crew, outside of the clip show and thing, or the clip that they showed, my favorite moment from this panel is getting the opportunity to see Russell Curry unwrap his Zato figure. Getting to see firsthand or just what his character design and figure looks like. It was so cool to see him hold it up to the screen. He even pulled all the components out, even the little the actual head for Zato, and even like put it up to himself so you can see the resemblance and stuff. I thought they did a fantastic job with the molding and the sculpting for this character. Really looks like Russell Curry, if you ask me. But Zato's got his own figure now. as they got the opportunity to showcase us and some brand new footage or brand new photos. But that was the highlight, like just seeing the pure joy on Russell Curry's face to know that, holy shit, I'm an actual action figure as of right now. Has got to be trippy if you're a Power Ranger or an actor who's a Power Ranger, just to see yourself like in this little box. And as an action figure, I think it was so cool to see just his reaction to it. So yeah, so that was in fact the Power Rangers Dino Fury panel. Now, the second panel that we had that day was, in fact, the product line, where we got to see some of the brand new toys and concepts from the Lightning Collection that they're going to be dabbling in for you guys. So a new wave of Lightning Collection is certainly here. Again, we got the Zedd Dino Fury that's going to be in there, but they also revealed in regards to the new Lightning Collection wave, Shelby herself from Dino Charge, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, I know right now the new hotness and the new cuteness is Amelia as the Pink Ranger. People comparing her already to Kimberly. Let's not throw Shelby any shade her way either. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Dino Charge was such an impressive first season for Power Rangers when it comes to the Neo Saban era. That is definitely a season that people remember and certainly enjoyed. And I do think that there are people that certainly do give Shelby some love for sure. But to be able to see that she actually has her own figure, I love the sculpting. I think the head sculpt is fantastic. Loretta Masters and her team continues to do great work in here, but I'm thrilled to see that we're going to be getting Shelby coming to the Dino Charge team for the Lightning Collection here. We also got Wild Force Silver here also, guys, that they went ahead and showcased to us with a brand new action figure for the wave. Again, another spectacular face sculpt. I love the fact that they during the panel that they threw some jokes and some jabs at the early 2000 hairstyles and things like that, with a little goatee and the colored hair and things like that. But Wild Force Silver, he's here, ladies and gentlemen. So definitely look forward to seeing that. And then, of course, the last introduction to the wave, a little bit underwhelming in the sense that it's just like another cog, if you will, from the Machine Empire. I believe that they released a pack. Didn't they release a pack of cogs, like 2 cogs already? And now you got yourself a single one here. They really they really put emphasis on the idea of building your own Machine Empire. And it seems as though they're going to be providing you with the cogs to certainly do it. Because some people do like building their armies that way, if you will. So yeah, this is wave 11 of the Power Ranger Lightning Collection. So again, Dino Fury Red, Dino Charge Pink, Wild Force Silver, and of course the cog to go ahead and round out the new wave of toys that you're going to be getting. Let's see here. According to the other notes, what else do we get? Oh, there's also a Lightning Collection Deluxe assortment that's going to be announced for the upcoming spring. I want to say they might be a bit bigger when it comes to action figures. But they went ahead and revealed to us, let's see. Do I have the picture of this? Yes, In Space Blue, TJ. They released that as he's got his glider with him in here, which looks great, his Galaxy glider. So you've got that with TJ. I believe we already have a TJ character in Lightning Collection, if I'm not mistaken. So they're adding it again, but this time with the glider. So I guess it's the case of, hey, you can't just buy accessories. You got to buy the actual figure itself again, because I do believe that TJ is already a character in the Lightning Collection. And then last but not least, Paranti Head. I can't remember how you pronounce his name. But something tells me that they are a little bit bigger in their sculpt, but I could be wrong there. So yeah, those are the two for the new deluxe aspect of the Lightning Collection wave that you can certainly expect. It says spring of 2022. So it's still certainly a little bit a ways. One thing that really surprised me from this panel also that they introduced us to, the Lord Zedd helmet, guys. This thing is massive. This very much reminds me of just the idea of some of the helmets that they've tackled before in the past. I think they've done the Red Ranger, and I think they've done the Pink Ranger also, if I'm not mistaken, in regards to it. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comment section box, guys. But we got the opportunity to see this helmet in action. The gentleman who was showcasing it actually wore it himself. It's massive. It fits on his big head, so I think it's going to fit on anybody's big head. It also does have a voice modulator at the bottom of the grate. So there's a little button that you can push so that when you talk inside of it, it changes your voice. So it has a voice changer attached to it also. And the brain part of it is actually pretty squishy. The guy wind up like grabbing it and squishing it between his head, like put his hand pushing it down also a little bit too. So it's pretty squishy and flexible as well. So we got ourselves a Lord Zedd helmet for you Lightning collection fans out there as well. So yeah, and it's got a great visor for you to certainly go look through. This is impressive. I really do like this. I don't know exactly how much this is going to cost. I didn't catch the pricing for it, but it looks pretty sweet. Like even them paying attention to detail in regards to like all the little divots from the side of the visor all the way through the back and stuff. Really great in regards to the attention to detail that they've given this Lord Zedd mask. So I definitely expect this to be a pretty big seller, to certainly say the least. But listen, at the end of the day though, what else did they showcase to us? Oh, there's also a new project that they announced in here called the Zord Ascension Project, where it's the idea that they are going to be truly diving into creating Megazords. And they went ahead and revealed to us the Dino Megazord itself. They went through old costume pictures from Super Sentai for inspiration on proportions. It's going to be 11 and a half inches tall, or I think it says 144th in scale. So it's actually pretty massive. Let me see if I can actually bring up a photo for you guys to see exactly what the Zord is going to look like. I mean, I feel like this is probably the most impressive Zord that I've actually seen. And while I'm not a big collector of action figures, this is one I'm probably going to invest some money in, honestly, because it looks so damn good. Let me pull up some photos here for you guys. I mean, it looks absolutely detailed. If I'm not mistaken, I think each separate piece can come apart to where you can maybe create your own Zord out of it. I could be wrong, but here are some of the photos and highlights that we have as they actually spin it around for you guys. Can't really tell if you can see the attention to detail, but this looks like the articulation is going to be on point. Has the power sword, even has the shield with a mastodon head and things like that. I absolutely love what this Zord looks like. And trust me when I say they definitely do plan on creating other Zords to kind of go along with it. But this is definitely going to be their launching point for doing Megazords in a really big way. You know, I don't know if they're necessarily teaming up with like those that did like Transformers or anything like this, or if they're really just making this a huge initiative to really put their effort in making legit Megazords. But this it looks like it's going to cost a pretty penny. Wouldn't surprise me if it's in like the $200 range whatsoever. But people have been asking, hey, can we get some freaking Megazords here? And Hasbro is definitely listening. So they refer to it as ZAP, the Zord Ascension Project. So I'm definitely going to be keeping my eyes on that. But guys, listen, with every Power Ranger panel, well, maybe not every, there does tend to be controversy. Dun, dun, dun. Controversy, guys. Something for us to definitely go ahead and dabble in. Because the last announcement that we wind up getting was actually a breaking news from the panel, right? So we got the Boom Studios panel out of the way. Everything's wrapped up. We go back to the host, Jackie, and I can't remember the other gentleman's name, from whoever's hosting the Hasbro PulseCon, and they're sitting there talking a little bit about Power Rangers, right? Getting ready to go ahead and move on to the next panel. Probably talked like a good, probably 2 to 5 minutes But before all of a sudden, breaking news winds up hitting. It was a little bit awkward, I can't lie. Like, I don't think the transition was relatively that smooth. There is almost a part of me that wonders if Hasbro was waiting for maybe some majority of Power Ranger fans to kind of leave the panels and go about their business before making this particular announcement, because they came through with some breaking news. And boy, did this break the internet yesterday for sure, as it does seem as though when it comes to Hasbro, they have decided to go ahead and dabble in NFTs, ladies and gentlemen. And the NFT product that they're revealing to us, that Zap Dino Megazord that they showcased to us, but this time in black and gold, ladies and gentlemen, black and gold. So this is clearly an exclusive item. The way to go ahead and get this, a little convoluted, but we'll definitely go ahead and break it down for you guys here. According to their newsletter, it says that Hasbro's Power Rangers NFT will be offered through Sunday, October 21st, or excuse me, October 24th, which is until tomorrow, while supplies last, and is redeemable for a Hasbro Special Edition Power Rangers collectible figure, the Special Edition Dino Megazord. It looks as though Hasbro is teaming up with a company by the name of Wax, which is a blockchain that handles NFTs. NFTs normally, from some of the research that I've certainly have read, is usually very digital, if you will. The idea of digital transactions, cryptocurrencies, and things like that. You purchase this online with digital currency or whatever the case may be, and usually you get a digital product back or a digital receipt to show that, hey, you're owner of it. But most of the time, NFTs aren't physical. They're literally just digital, if you will. But this time around, because of the fact that Hasbro is working with an NFT company and Wax, when you pre-order this, you do get yourself a digital token to hold on to. I think they also provide you with like digital prints, pictures, schematics, and things like that for yourself until you actually redeem it. Once you redeem it, it says a Wax account holder with a redeemable NFT will have a redemption coin placed in their wallet on November 1st and will have until November 8th to redeem it for the actual Megazord itself. So it seems as though they do give you some digital files before during that small time period. But if you really want to get the actual Megazord, you can redeem this digital coin for the actual product to certainly come into your hands. So yeah, this is Hasbro's first. It says, we are thrilled to partner with Wax to offer Hasbro's first NFT collection with the Power Ranger franchise. The Wax platform gives fans an easy entry into the world of NFTs and digital collectibles. Now, fans have the opportunity to expand their collections, yada, yada, yada. It also says that Wax is a trailblazer in the NFT innovation, and we're going big with global play and entertainment company. It says they've introduced Power Rangers into the blockchain ecosystem. Our VIRL technology is changing the way people shop and trade collectibles, with consumers able to purchase NFTs and redeem them for a physical item itself. So let's talk about this a little bit here. And here's some photos too. I think these are maybe some of the pictures that you probably get also as part of your thing. I could be absolutely wrong. I'm not quite sure. But so let's talk about it, right? Because for those of you who don't know, and listen, this was a big learning curve for me yesterday myself. Learning exactly what the fuck an NFT certainly is. And I kid you not, I was up for like 2-3 hours trying to read how this all works. So the controversy from NFTs is the fact that since this is all usually digital, right, in regards to cryptocurrency, exchanging, purchasing, trading, and things like that, the idea here is that Unfortunately, when it comes to NFTs, it takes an incredible amount of energy and power to run NFTs. Like there are literal fields and, or I should say, literal like factories and stuff that just literally have computers and stuff just crunching numbers all the time, sort of thing. Crunching numbers, exchanging, trading, yada, yada, yada. And the amount of energy that goes into it is extremely harmful and extremely dangerous to the environment. And so when you see people really pushing back against NFTs, one, I think it's the concept and the idea of paying an incredible for something digitally that you really can't even put your hand on, but also the idea that it really does harm the environment in regards to just pushing out a bunch of carbon emissions that from the power that it takes to harness so many huge transactions. And so the issue that people have is the fact that when you look at Hasbro's environmental aspect and their viewpoints, it says at Hasbro, we believe it's our obligation to leave the world a better place than we found it. I'm proud of our sustainability center of excellence and how it connects our work at Hasbro and our personal responsibility to be good global citizens, right? So we've heard Hasbro talk about the idea that they want to leave as small of a footprint on the environment as they possibly can. I believe they mentioned the ideas in the past that they were making plans to kind of change things. I mean, you even look at this, the box, I believe it's like plastic free or something like that. There's even like a symbol letting them know that they're using less plastic or whatever in the creation of these boxes and things like that. So some people are definitely feeling like Hasbro is a little bit hypocritical in that sense. You say you want to help the environment, yet here you are now finding yourself part of an NFT, digital currency, blowing tons of emissions into the air, really harming the environment. So people definitely have called Hasbro out on this. On the other side of things, guys, because I do feel it's fair to at least point to the other side of the argument here when it comes to Hasbro, there are different blockchains out there in the world. The company that they've attached themselves to, Wax, as of right now, is certified as a carbon neutral. It's a clean and carbon neutral blockchain. So, in other words, it's the least harmful to the environment out of what we've gotten in the past or whatever else is certainly out there. So let me go ahead and pull this up a little bit so that people can understand why Wax is maybe a little bit significantly different when it comes to NFTs. Because here you have the opportunity that not only are you getting something digital in regards to your token, but you do have the opportunity to actually redeem it for a physical product and actually getting this for yourself. So you're not just going to be holding on to a digital concept the whole entire time. You do have the opportunity to get it physically into the palm of your hand. So that definitely makes it vastly different than your traditional NFTs, which do tend to be just digital. So let me go ahead and bring up this other article here to give us an insight a little bit more as to what's potentially different when it comes to Wax compared to other companies. Let me see if I can pull this off. Let's see here. Can I share this screen? Actually, I'm going to take this screen down. I'm going to share this other screen. I'm just here to educate, guys. And then you guys go on your own path in regards to however you want to handle it. This is from the CryptoCoinSociety.com. Carbon offset NFTs on Wax, the greenest and most sustainable non-fungibles, which that's what it stands for. It says non-fungible tokens, or more popularly known as NFTs, are now one of the most desirable digital items on the planet. Everyone wants in on an NFT craze, but particularly nobody pays any mind to the impact that it has on the environment, unfortunately. Many blockchains upon which NFTs are created and traded are extremely energy inefficient. But on the other hand, we have blockchains like Wax who are absolutely crushing it in terms of being the most energy efficient blockchain in the world. And now they are taking it a step further by launching carbon offset NFTs. So what is Wax? It's called Worldwide Asset Exchange. It says there are plenty of other benefits as well, such as being able to experiment with new ideas, courtesy of digitalization. The popularity of Wax NFTs has been illustrated more than once in the past. They got a bunch of brands that are certainly connected to them. Here's the blockchain compared energy efficiency with the other blockchains that are out there. When you see the concept here that Wax only uses less than 1% of, or less than 1 terawatt a year, compared to 28 or even 17 terawatts a year by from Bitcoin. It says, but with Wax eco-friendliness at its core, as it's built on the proof of stakes technology versus the protocol developed by other leaders that depend on energy guzzling mining to operate. On average, Wax is more than 320,000 times more energy efficient than Bitcoin, or 125,000 times more energy efficient than the other company. It's close. It says to give a numerical value, Wax's average energy consumption to process data on its blockchain is less than 1 terawatt per year. Wax even claims that they're already fully carbon neutral network. It says overall, the transactions has led to more than 4 million tons of carbon emissions being offset had the transaction actually taken place elsewhere. So they're really trying to kind of push the concept of the idea of using Wax as your NFT consultant, other than the other ways that you can use it. But Wax isn't content with just that, as they're now working to offset the carbon emissions of NFTs, and blockchains outside of their own ecosystem as a whole. The goal is no longer to create more sustainable blockchain as a model for others to follow, but to enable its users to play a role in aiding those other networks to cut down on their pollution. So they've introduced carbon offset NFTs. It says here, so pretty much the idea here, what they're creating here, I believe it says for every $1 redeemed through Wax carbon offset NFTs, the National Forest Foundation will plant 1 tree sapling, which can offset an average of 1 ton worth of carbon dioxide in its lifetime. So I do wonder here if this is a sense of, like, if you do purchase the Wax NFT here, if it's a sense of for the amount of money you redeem to actually maybe get the physical copy, for each dollar, it sounds as though maybe they're planting a tree to help offset some of the carbon emissions, on top of the idea that they're already using a vastly lesser amount of energy. Okay. So it feels very much like Hasbro, who is a company that, again, clearly has an environmental outlook that they want to try and tackle. It seems as though if Hasbro is kind of going into the NFT world, I mean, listen, according to the article itself, like it said, NFTs, digital currency, cryptocurrency, it is becoming a big trend these days. There are people that invest in it. There are people that do enjoy it for what it certainly is. Granted, it's extremely terrible for the environment, but it is a form of something that's out there that is unfortunately growing for some people. So Hasbro, clearly as a company that believes in the idea of, hey, we need to make some sort of money here, let's maybe branch out a little bit our portfolio into NFTs. It feels very much like if Hasbro's going that route, they're at least doing their part in trying to find the least impactful fingerprint on the environment as they possibly can, while also branching out their portfolio. So again, NFTs, especially just vastly digital ones, some people refer to them as scams because of the fact that you're trading big amounts of money for nothing that's even physical, and it truly harms the environment. And yet on the other side, here you have Hasbro that's forming up with an NFT company, Wax, this time around, that is more energy efficient than some of the other ones out there. So those are really two sides of the coin here, guys, in regards to it. Where you land, it's certainly up to you. I feel very much here the point that I think people are trying to make that do push back towards the concept of NFTs is probably the idea of like, look, if you are that much in regards to the environment and wanting to have a better example and be a better example, why even do an NFT in the first place, right? It doesn't matter the energy efficiency, the fact that maybe it equivalents to maybe only 20 households, maybe less than that per transaction. The fact alone that regardless if it's energy efficient, you're still putting some level of carbon emissions out there in the world. And I also do think that there's probably an argument that they would simply say, why even go this route with an NFT if the end goal and the result is just going to be you getting a physical copy? Why not just exclude the NFT concept and then just simply make it as an exclusive pre-order, right? The idea of like, hey, if you pre-order within this time amount or within this time period, you still get the opportunity of getting this exclusive thing. So in that regards, I definitely do agree in the sense that it's like, okay, so the end result is I just redeem this for a physical copy. Why can't I just pre-order it? So there is an extent that I definitely understand where people are certainly coming from. I guess for me, as somebody that is, you know, I am a believer in climate change. Um, I very much do see the wildfires, the crazy flooding, the intense storms, everything that we're experiencing in the world as an effect in climate change. And for me personally, not trying to get political, but I personally am very frustrated with just the politics of things, how things can't be moved forward. We can't seem to get anything done to really make a truthful impact on our environment. And it's something that definitely needs to be addressed. And I certainly hope that we do get to that point of being addressed. With that said, again, I think me and the girlfriend even talked about the idea of maybe even trying to get some solar panels on top of our house, right? Trying to make our carbon emissions as our footprint on the environment as minimal as we possibly can. And so there is a part of me that while I get the pushback, and again, I'm not going to purchase the NFT. I mean, you guys know I don't even really collect things. I'm just simply trying to present to you two sides of a coin, two sides of an argument, and you simply do whatever it is that you certainly wish that you want to do. Okay. Um, for me, it feels very much like the pushback is very much like, hey, Hasbro, we appreciate you doing as little harm as you possibly can, but just don't do any harm at all, would be the way that people would certainly prefer to do it. And so I get the energy, but I also do think, I think if you look at Hasbro as a company as a whole, I'm sure their factories gush out a bunch of emissions a day. Myself, while I don't have an EV car yet, I still drive my car around and I still push emissions out into the air. But I try and change things up in my life to where I don't have as much of an impact on things as I can. And so a part of me thinks of this as that's what Hasbro's doing, in a sense that they are just at least trying to make as little impact as they possibly can. The idea of telling them just don't do it at all is like, Adam, just don't drive your car anymore. Walk wherever you need to go. And unfortunately, that's just impossible for me to do. But at least I'm trying to do my part in other ways to try and help reduce the emissions and the causes that are certainly out there. And so, you can look at Hasbro's attempt to at least like, hey, at least we're not joining Bitcoin and at least we're not joining these other blockchains. The one that we are going with is the most environmentally friendly that we could possibly find. But again, I get the pushback of why even do it in the first place. But I do want to bring this up a little bit because, and and you guys can feel whatever way that you certainly want to about it. I'm not a supporter. I don't really care about NFTs. I don't in that sense of like I don't use them whatsoever at all. But I will say this: the amount of energy that I saw people dishing out to other people in regards to NFTs and how disgusted they are with Hasbro. I get it. Some people want to ignore the green, eco-friendly aspects that Hasbro's taking. I've seen a lot of people just wave that off in the sense of it doesn't matter. We want you to just not do it at all. Just zero emissions. Don't even do it. There's been a lot of energy out there and a lot of negative energy. It definitely feels as though while this NFTs clearly are a trend, there are people in the Power Ranger community that's trying to chop it off at its legs, almost to the point of like shaming anybody that wants to do NFTs. Like I've seen a bunch of people like get blocked on Power Ranger fandom because some people don't necessarily agree. I've seen some people pick on other people. One case, somebody started being derogatory and calling somebody's mom something offensive, sort of thing. The incredible amount of power and energy from these environmentalists and activists for wanting to save the environment. Listen, I appreciate the energy, but I think it's also a case of sometimes I think you have to maybe educate people, instead of talking about them or, being upset with somebody's decision, maybe educate them as much as you possibly can in regards to something instead of pushing back and immediately blocking because of the fact that we don't fit into your cultist like ideologies or the mindset that you certainly have. This idea of like I can only be friends or talk to people that agree with my mindset and mentality and just block anybody else that doesn't agree with me or doesn't see the impact, I think is the wrong way to certainly handle it. But that's just my point of view and my perspective. I think everybody can certainly have their own opinion on it, and people will do whatever they want to do. But if you're going to block me or not talk to some people because of the fact that they maybe want to purchase NFT or think to themselves, hey, Hasbro's at least doing it the most eco-friendly way, and you're just extremely dismissive of any option, or even willing to talk to people about it, I think is a really interesting energy and mindset to have in regards to it, right? I mean, the goal is the same. The goal is the same. We want to help the environment. We want to do our part to at least make our fingerprint on the environment less. And for some people, it's just the idea of even putting it out there in the first place that automatically makes you the fucking devil, it feels like. You know what I mean? And so I guess it really just depends on which side of the argument you kind of land on and what you certainly want to do. But I do find it interesting, again, the energy. The energy that goes into fighting for the environment, fighting for a cause, fighting for wanting a brighter future for our environment. And yet I do think that sometimes we very much pick and choose our fights. And so, when I see that uproar and I see the pushback that Power Rangers and Hasbro is certainly getting for harming the environment, I might say something controversial here, but I wonder where that same energy was towards Kamen Rider Revice when we wind up getting an actor on the show posting blackface, and nobody holding anybody accountable, Yet us as Power Ranger fans, right? We want to rush to Hasbro and hold them accountable for making shit decisions like this. And yet some of us can turn a blind eye and say, you know what? I'm not gonna purchase Kamen Rider Revice toys because I don't want to support them, but I'm still gonna watch the show and I'm still gonna go on Twitter and I'm gonna go ahead and post pictures and talk about each episode on a weekly basis, giving Kamen Rider Revice a voice, a platform. And some people may not agree with me, and that's fine. And that's fine. You don't have to agree with me. But I can I point something out though? Can I point? It's the idea, like somebody mentioned the idea to me, or just mentioned the idea that, I want an environment so that my children can live in an environmentally safe life, or live on the world that's environmentally better. Well, you know what? I want to live in the world where racism doesn't happen, where people are held accountable for the stupid shit that they do and the stupid shit that they say. And grow a child and have my son Noah be able to live in the world where people are less racist and have less stereotypes certainly told about them, right? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's a question of, where is your energy at? Let me go ahead and pull this up here, right? Because I did ask this question. I was kind of curious to know what people's perspective and mindset was in regards to this. So I simply asked the question. Let me see if I can go ahead and pull it up here. Where is my tweet? Sometimes it's hard to find my tweets. I said, look, you can support and not support whatever you want, but I'm curious how many out there don't support NFTs, yet on a weekly basis promote and give Kamen Rider a voice on here. It's truly fascinating to me to see what people choose and choose not to give their energy to. And somebody said that my take was a trash take, that it was a terrible take. This is what he says. He says, in fact, I'll even go ahead and pull it up because I got receipts, guys. Because I do have some rebuttals and I do have a different perspective that I would like to bring to maybe people's attention in regards to that. So let me see. So here we go. Let me print up this quote for you guys here. Here we go. Trash take number infinity on Toku Twitter. Vice's voice actor is only one part of Revice. As far as we are aware, the rest of the production seemed to mean no harm. And the overall goal of the show, like every tokusatsu, is to sell toys and make money. A little greedy, yes, but overall, harmless. Harmless. NFTs only exist for rich crypto dude bros to get more rich while actively hurting the environment. Very, very greedy and overall harmful. One's goal is to make money while also entertaining people, with really only one piece of trash standing in the way of that, while the other's goal is to actively harm the environment to gain more wealth. And listen, maybe you're right in regards to the idea that the other's goal is to actively harm the environment or to just gain wealth. But I would ask, isn't that the same thing Tokusatsu is doing? To sell money and to make toys, right? Clearly, Tokusatsu and Hasbro both fit that greedy mindset absolutely perfectly. But clearly, this person thinks the idea that the Kamen Rider Revice situation is harmless, where the idea of hurting the environment is harmful. And this is the issue that I have, is the fact that people in this world continue to downplay the impact of racial stereotypes and racism in this world. Yes, while it may in fact be one person on that production team at Kamen Rider Vice that's messing it up for everybody else. It's an aspect of accountability, ladies and gentlemen. The idea that you have somebody on your production crew that has done something very racially stereotypical, very racially heated, and nobody has approached this guy to hold him accountable to his actions, to say that what you did is not only wrong, but yes, Mr. Twitter guy, it is harmful. It is harmful because you not holding somebody accountable lets people know it's okay. And you know what that does? That increases more people to think that it's okay and thus do the same thing and continue to bring up racial stereotypes like it's not harmful to Black people or culture or society. You know who it did harm? Me. Okay? As an African American man, as half Black, that upset me. And I do want somebody to hold this man accountable. I'm not saying Hasbro is better than Toei. I'm not saying Toei is better than Hasbro. I'm saying the same type of energy should be given. And yet people pick and choose where they want to give their energy to. This guy clearly feels the idea of one person who did racial stereotypes is harmless. I'm sorry, but I would say it's just as harmful as the environment. Okay? So he may think my take on it is trash, but I think his concept is very lazy. And I think it continues to show how people not only pick and choose what they support, but the idea of being ignorant towards a topic or blindly ignorant towards a topic and maybe don't fully understand the impact that it truly does have. Because the idea of not addressing it with Kamen Rider Revice is a sense of saying it's okay. And the same type of accountability that people want to have towards Hasbro from harming the environment, they should have that same level of accountability to Toei for, while they're not necessarily promoting the guy, the idea of promoting it is still saying it's okay. We're not going to address it. We're not going to make him address it. We're going to turn a blind eye to it. And that's the type of systematic racism that continues to build and continues to be harmful. So trust me, very much harmful in both ways. In both ways. Let me see here. And I'll show you another case. I'll show you another case. This is another reply to my message. Again, you can support or not support whatever you want, but I'm curious how many out there don't support NFTs, yet on a weekly basis promote and give Kamen Rider a voice on here. This is from Cam Lee. He says, 1, we can dislike multiple things at once. 2, these are nonsense comparisons. If you desperately want to defend a scam, that's fine. 1, I wasn't defending a scam. Please read it. Please read the thing again. I'm simply asking a question. To each their own bad taste, but come up with some better defense then. But do you watch a show that has one problematic employee? Again, the idea of saying, oh, but it's just one problem. It's just one actor. Well, you know what? It's just one Hasbro NFT, guys. This is the only one that they've done. Right? It's not like they've done a whole chain of Power Rangers NFT, guys. So why is it just one problematic NFT an issue? What are we doing here? Right? That's Cam Lee's concept. Yeah, it's one problematic employee. But again, the idea of letting it go and not being addressed and holding people accountable for their actions continues to allow it to fester. It continues to allow it to grow. It allows other people and cultures to say, hey, that guy did it, but nobody got on his ass about it. They still watched the show and they didn't complain whatsoever. If anything, they probably highlighted our show more on Twitter, if anything. Do we not? How is that harmless, guys? So don't come to me. It's only one person. It's only one person. You know what? Because it's only one Hasbro NFT, guys. It's just only one. And I'm sure people don't like the sound of that, do you? So listen, if you have that same fucking energy out there in that world to bust Hasbro's ass about NFT when they've made a decision to go more eco-friendly, but you want to get on their ass about the idea of doing an NFT in the first place, where's that same mentality of saving the environment to, hey, racism is a big problem and we need to hold people accountable for that also. If you're going to go out there and hold and Hasbro accountable to what they're doing to the environment, hold Toei and Common Revice accountability for the idea of not addressing a systematic racially inspired thing as blackface. It's still harmful. Oh, but it's the earth compared to one person. It's the same thing because that continues to travel and becomes more harmful. So if you got the energy to block people and not want to promote it and not talk about it whatsoever, that same type of energy should go towards Kamen Rider Revice also. That's just my mentality of it in regards to at least looking at it in a bigger scope. So again, it's just interesting to me where people put their energy and what they choose and choose not to support with that same type of energy, and really how they tend to downplay it and turn a blind eye to certain things like it's not an issue in this world. And I think we've gotten perfectly great examples of people that tend to be either blissfully ignorant or just ignorant in the sense of they just don't know the harm that it certainly, unfortunately, causes people. So, yeah. Look, I'm not going to get the NFT. You guys do whatever you want to with the NFT. Again, I get the arguments that people are giving it in the sense of, if you are an environmentalist, if you are a big believer in that, I can see why people would say, if we're just going to get the physical copy, guys, why even do NFTs in the first place? Why even if you are going through an eco-friendly aspect, you are still leaving some minimal amount of fingerprint on the world. Why do that when we can just have a physical copy? So I get it. I absolutely get it. I just found it interesting this week to see the energy that was put towards it, holding people accountable, but giving other people a pass. You know what I mean? Like, hey, maybe it's a show that you love. I get it. It's hard to not want to watch something that you love. But I guess pick and choose whatever you want to fight for. But I just thought it was a really interesting perspective on some points of view around the fandom. But maybe that's just me. And you guys are more than welcome to certainly feel your type of way. Shit, you don't even have to necessarily agree with me. And I don't care if you don't or not, it's something that was really on my mind that I really wanted to kind of talk about and get off my chest a little bit, because for me, it was just a little frustrating, but trying to understand both people's point of views. And that's really what I wanted to present to you guys today in regards to Hasbro's collaboration with Wax when it comes to NFTs. Some of the benefits that certainly happens when they join up with Wax, and the disadvantages of it in regards to its impact on the environment. We'll see what happens, though, guys. We'll see what happens. All right. With that, we will get into our next topic. This is going to be a long fucking show today, guys. Holy shit, Adam. Holy shit. But we will move on to our next topic, which will be Power Rangers related. And that in regards is going to be, it is official. Power Rangers series moves to Netflix as the streamer nabs exclusive rights to Dino Fury Season 2, ladies and gentlemen. Look, we knew that this was coming, but it's always great to know that we have ourselves a confirmation here. So they definitely have the exclusive rights to Dino Fury Season 2. And to me, if you ask me, this very much feels like the idea that they're going to, this is going to be their new sort of home kind of going forward. I could be wrong. We'll definitely see how it turns out. But let's go ahead and read the article that they actually provided for us. Because this, it's big when it comes from deadline.com. So shout out to deadline.com for even covering Power Rangers for this particular move. Let me pull this up. But yeah, Deadline, it says Power Rangers series moves to Netflix as streamer nabs the exclusive rights. It says the venerable Power Rangers TV series is now on the move. Netflix will be the exclusive U.S. home for the upcoming second season of Dino Fury, which will debut on the streamer in spring of 2022. I am curious when that spring means, if that's like late March, early April, or something like that. It says Netflix has licensed the series from Entertainment One and Hasbro. And it says it's only had a handful of U.S. TV homes since 1993. Fox Kids, ABC, Disney, and then the move to Nickelodeon. It says Dino Fury is already available on Netflix. Season 1 of the show has been streaming on the platform. The episode premiere on Nickelodeon on the second window deal. Additionally, the franchise's library was on Netflix for years until it left on February. So it does confirm Dino Fury's there, Mighty Morphin is there, Ninja Steel, and Beast Morphers. It says the new season will feature new characters, new Zords, new weapons, and new vehicles, including the Dino Fury Cycle and a T-Rex inspired motorcycle with blasters. It says the series will pick up right where season 1 left off, with the fate of Void Knight and Centaura revealed. Evil forces and influential villains will continue to disrupt Dino Fury Rangers. It will see Zato and Ion discovering more about Ravcon, their home planet, the development of new and existing relationships, and the introduction of never-before-seen characters. So yeah, guys, it's a big move here. And it does get me wondering as to what this means for the future of Power Rangers. I think this is a great next step for the franchise, if you ask me personally. If anything, I am expecting Dino Fury Season 2 to have the same formula that we had for the first season. I don't know whether or not when filming Dino Fury, if Simon Bennett and them knew that there would be an eventual move to Netflix. So I am very much under the impression that the production team filmed Dino Fury like they normally do, thinking that everything was going to be on Nickelodeon. And I think those episodes are simply going to be transferred over to Netflix for its second season. So I'm not expecting a different formula or format of this show, at least for Dino Fury. I expect it to continue to be the way that it is on Nickelodeon into Netflix. Now, after Dino Fury is something completely different. It doesn't say if this is the official exclusive home now for everything Power Rangers, but I'm almost under the impression that it certainly will be at some point in time. But, I would be cool if they decided to go ahead and maybe branch out Power Rangers to other streaming services, depending on what type of theme or genre or whatever the case may be that they might try to dive into. So for me, I'm kind of hoping that going forward that this will hopefully sort of release any further creative handcuffs to our writers and showrunners that come into Power Rangers, allowing them to really kind of push the envelope on some of their storytelling if they want to. And there's also a part of me that thinks that maybe, if anything, we'll get ourselves a brand new format in regards to how they maybe release episodes. I'm still thinking maybe we'll get them in chunks, like part 1 and part 2. It should be interesting to see, like, are we going to get more episodes this season? Are you going to give us all 40 episodes in a year? Are you still going to kind of split them up and then, give us a second season, the following year sort of thing? So I do think, if anything, this fascinates me and excites me in the sense that Power Rangers can really change on Netflix if it wants to. No longer does it have the overlords of Nickelodeon that has certain prerequisites going into each and every episode. You literally can create the episodes in any format that you certainly want to going forward. Who's to say that they stick with the 25-minute mark? Who's to say that they don't expand each episodes out to, say, 40 minutes for all we know, right? Maybe not as serialized as we're kind of used to, everything taking place in just like one episode. Maybe we will have more continuations, several different parts, who certainly knows, after Dino Fury. But I do think that this is a fantastic move for them. And I do think this is, if anything, is just going to bring a ton of great excitement for Power Rangers and for people who really have not had the opportunity to dabble in Power Rangers in years. And I do think that us as a fandom, if we're excited about it, we definitely should continue to talk about it and make it something that people are certainly aware of. Because trust me, I've seen plenty of people on Twitter who haven't watched Power Rangers in years, but discovered season 1 of Dino Fury and are now back into the fandom or are now loving Power Rangers again. It is pretty impressive what can happen when you take your content and put it someplace where it's even more easily accessible for people to certainly get their hands on. So I think this is a great move by Netflix here, getting yourself a current season. And hopefully, I think if you make this move, there is a part of me that tells me, no, we're not going to go back to Nickelodeon, at least for this type of show. This is probably going to be our new home going forward. And I'm definitely a fan of it. So listen, I want to know your guys' thoughts. And not necessarily Dino Fury, because I do believe the same format will be for Dino Fury season 2 as it is for season 1. But after Dino Fury, let's say we do get that Ryusoulger adaptation. Is there a different format you would certainly like to see? How would you like to see Netflix maybe handle future Power Ranger shows? Definitely go ahead and let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below. But I do think that this just means bigger and better things are certainly coming for the franchise. And I think this is a great opportunity. I will say this, some people were questioning, okay, well, if Netflix has Power Rangers once again, why don't they have, say, the YouTube videos, the other past seasons, if you will. And for that, if anything, and I could be wrong, if I just had to assume or figure out the answer, I would just think that maybe financially it wasn't a great deal for Netflix. Like I wonder if it was a case of maybe we're paying too much for the license, the streaming licenses, based off of the views that they're getting on Netflix. Maybe they just weren't being viewed very often on Netflix, and maybe the kickback for what Hasbro can make by moving those seasons to YouTube was maybe better than what Netflix was maybe even offering them for their past episodes, right? Like if there was, poor turnout for past Power Ranger shows and Netflix felt like that viewership doesn't warrant how much we're actually paying you for those past seasons, it could be the case that maybe Hasbro just felt monetizing the videos on YouTube would probably bring them a bigger income than maybe what Netflix was even offering there. And I do think also the idea that you keep MMPR, Beast Morphers, why Ninja Steel is up there, I have no idea. But I mean, look, you are this season alone, and even Beast Morphers has made past connections to all of these series. And so I do think it's a case of, hey, if we are bringing Dino Fury to you, there's a reason why we've specifically selected these seasons to maybe remain on there. Because if you do watch an episode of Dino Fury and you do see Mick, maybe there's a part of you that wants to see Mick's adventures in Ninja Steel, right? This episode, we saw a clip show of Beast Morphers. Hey, if you guys wanted to see where this clip came from, Beast Morphers is also available on Netflix for you. Lord Zedd returning this season. Hey, you want to see Lord Zedd back in his prime? Go check out MMPR. That's also available for you. So I do think it's a bit of Hasbro working behind the scenes, trying to figure out what to keep on Netflix for connective purposes, but also just financially, what might certainly feel better for them in the long run. So I'm not expecting the past episodes to come back to Netflix. I definitely do think that when it comes to this, it's probably going to be solely on YouTube. But yeah, man, Netflix is making the investment in Dino Fury. I'm kind of curious as to how much they spent for these exclusive rights. But again, people these days are paying out the ass for content when it comes to the streaming wars that we're currently in right now. And again, it's another reason why why I'm a big proponent of going to the movies and seeing movies on the big screen. It's as a movie fan, it's the most enjoyable experience. As a Power Ranger fan, I really want them to send the movie to streaming as much as I want to see it on the big screen. I know the box office is certainly improving. People are going out to the movies once again. But, you had a box office flop in the Power Ranger movie in 2017. And if you want to avoid it and hopefully have somebody pay you exclusive rights to your movie and maybe pay more than what you paid to make it, I say take that deal to make sure that you get a sequel out of the world that you're trying to build. But that's just me. That's just me. I have no idea what Hasbro's plans certainly are, but financially, I think streaming's the way to go these days. But I could be wrong. But Netflix and Dino Fury teaming up for season 2. Thank you very much, Chance Perez, for the very early heads up that this was certainly going to happen. I definitely took that as confirmation months ago, but it's certainly always great to see a reputable source like Deadline at least confirm it for our fans that yes, it is in fact indeed happening, ladies and gentlemen. And with that out of the way, I think I'm actually going to exclude a story because I think we kind of already talked about it here in this Deadline article. So with that out of the way, guys, I will be moving on to Tokusatsu news, ladies and gentlemen. We got two things here that we're going to be talking about. I will start off with new Sentai rumors, though. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We've got some new Sentai rumors that are popping up. I don't want to say we were supposed to get trademarks and stuff, but the trademarks have not dropped as of yet. We're coming towards the end of October, and usually this is the time in which trademarks are starting to be revealed to us, but haven't heard a single word yet. But thanks to Return of the Matt, the real Matt Hunt over on Twitter, we've got some new Super Sentai rumors, ladies and gentlemen. As always, disclaimer, take this with a massive grain of salt, okay? Take this with a massive grain of salt. But let's go ahead and dive into some of these because I do think it was actually pretty interesting to see what we got here. So Dukemon, strapping kids, big rumors from 5CH. Grains of salt at the ready, as always. This morning, Bandai's intra-company catalog was updated with an image of next year's Red, and it seems like he will appear in Zenkaiger as a regular character from January. So they're saying really in the last half of Zenkaiger, this character, the next year's Red, could pop up as a regular character in the Zenkaiger series. The new Red rides on a bike mecha, and it can combine with Jurin, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, Jurin from Zenkaiger is what they're saying. That the new ride rides on a bike mecha, and it can combine with Jurin. The Sentai gears will be changed into a new form and continue to be marketed. It almost feels like Ranger keys in that sense from like Gokaiger, where they definitely continue to market them. But like in movies and future seasons, maybe they just like upgraded them or changed them into a new form sort of thing. So it does seem as though the Sentai gears will be changed into a new form so they can be marketed. And it says Zenkaiger will also continue to be marketed. In fact, there's actually a rumor that says Zenkaiger and Jurin appear on next year's show as regulars. Is this like Zenkaiger 2.0? Is this Zenkaiger season 2? Is that what we're doing here? It says the new Red has a gear to linger like weapon that transforms into a bike and a half robo. And again, that's the Jurin side of things. Name of the new Red isn't shown, but he appears to have a Momotaro and a samurai sort of motif. That's interesting. I kind of dig that idea. The idea behind this is to create a feeling of transition from the old show to the new show. Again, grain of salt. So it seems, again, according to the rumors, we've got the new Red that is supposedly supposed to pop up during January in Zenkaiger, be a regular on the show to help transition into the new show. And even during that transition, Zenkaiser and Jurin will actually appear as regulars on the next show and maybe even utilize Jurin as part of his half bike, half mecha sort of combination that we have here, with the theme and the motif being Momotaro or a samurai motif. A couple other ones. New Red, as part of his Momotaro motif, has a visor and goggles that are shaped like a peach leaf. And he has a top knot on his helmet. There's no info on anyone but Red at this current moment. That's interesting. The peach leaf, I would be interested to see what that looks like in the form of visors or goggles. It says the teeth on the new Sentai gears resembles that of the Nin Shurikens from Ninja. And this new Sentai starts in March, as per the last couple years also. And then last but not least, it says the bike mode of New Red's gun mecha robot half can be ridden on by Change Heroes figures. So maybe some are those like the new line of figures that they went ahead and created? Because I know that they haven't really done SH Figwarts for the Zenkaiger team. So I'm wondering if that's what that Change Hero figures are in regards to maybe the toy side of things. So I'm really fascinated by these. Again, take this as a grain of salt. None of this could be real. All of it could be real for all we know. But it's really our first look into what this could look like. Momotaro Japanese. Let me go ahead and bring this up. Pull up some images for you guys so you can get a concept if you're not familiar so much with the Momotaro theme or motif. Let's go ahead and pull up some pictures, because they even said the idea of there even being a knot on the back of their helmet. So here's some concepts of a Momotaro theme here, if you guys can see it. Can I bring this up even further? Yeah, let me pull this up a little bit here. So this is very, very much the Momotaro theme that we're seeing here also. I kind of dig the concept. You know, a little hair bun or a little knot on the back of the helmet, I think would actually be pretty cool to kind of see. The idea of maybe going a little bit samurai, I kind of dig the idea. It feels very ancient Japanese. I'm here for it. Peach Boy, hero of Japanese. So yeah, if it's a Momotaro, I believe it's an actual character. Peach Boy Momotaro, I think it might actually be like an actual character, but they must be taking like the influences of Momotaro and bringing it back. I kind of dig it. If it's really going to be like a play on maybe like ancient Japanese culture for the Momotaro, I love the sound of that. I think visually it'll certainly look rather unique, and it almost will feel like a callback to maybe traditional Super Sentai. But I would be interested to see what that peach leaf, looks like as a visor once they transform. But again, guys, it's Momotaro, the Peach Boy, Japanese folklore. So I kind of dig it, man. I kind of dig it, guys. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep you guys posted as we get more details. But if anything, listen, I will say this. The fact alone that this might be connected to Zenkaiger does worry me. You guys know my love-hate relationship with Zenkaiger as it already is. It is one of those things where if there is a redeeming quality about these grain of salts, the fact that Zenkaiser and Jurin are going to be the ones that come over do make me a happy camper. because those are two of my favorite characters out of this season, at least. I really love Kaido. I really love Jurin's personality. So I do think that they would be really great additions to a show. I'm just kind of curious as to if is this really going to be an all-out continuation of the storyline from Zenkaiger? Is it going to be a separate storyline, but they're using this as just a connective tissue between the two series? What's the bigger overall picture is really what I would have to ask. And I guess my second concept or worry would be, can we please bring in new writers? I do not want the showrunners and the writers from Zenkaiger on this project, like at all. I'm literally ready to go ahead and get a fresh voice. Not to say that Zenkaiger hasn't been fresh and unique in its own right. They definitely have done their own fair share of that stuff for sure. I mean, damn, the whole season itself is unique in its own sense. But I would like another voice in the room. I would like another mentality in approaching Super Sentai going forward, because back-to-back seasons of this, literally, if it's the same writers and we get the same thing, I may not watch this season, guys. I'm just being honest with you. Like, I do not want to deal with 40 episodes of Zenkaiger 2.0 all over again. So I have no problem with them bringing over some characters, but it would be interesting to see somebody else's vision and how they creatively would handle those characters. So there's a bit of excitement in this, curiosity, intrigue, but there's also a bit of worry in regards to some of these grains of salt. So we'll see what sticks. We'll see what certainly doesn't. But at the end of the day, guys, I definitely want to go ahead and know your guys' thoughts in regards to some of these brand new Super Sentai rumors. And hopefully with these rumors circulating, hopefully by next week, by the end of October, maybe we'll get ourselves an actual trademark for this new Super Sentai season, guys. So we'll definitely see. And of course, I'll go ahead and keep you guys posted as we continue to get more and new information in regards to it. And then last but not least, in regards to our articles for the day, more tokusatsu headed our way, but it's time in the form of Ryusoulger, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. This Toei fan club that they've got has actually been pumping out some great content, some really great sort of side stories, some spin-offs and things like that. I still have to get to my Yodana special episode 2. I have not watched it. I definitely want to watch it. Love the first Yodana special. Somebody did send me a link, so I do have it. I definitely have to watch it. It's just a matter of finding time when I'm trying to paint this along with like 10 videos a week. Also, it definitely does drag. But I definitely do plan on trying to do the Yodana spinoff, because when it comes to Ryusoulger, they have a spinoff that, if I'm not mistaken, I think dropped already. The Legacy of the Masters, where they're going to be focusing on the Ryusoulger's masters. But it looks as though maybe either episode 1 was that much of a success, or they definitely had more planned, because according to the Tokusatsu Network, Ryusoulger spinoff continues with 2 more episodes. So if you have watched the first episode, if you love what you've seen so far, you're going to get more, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and dive into this article. This actually comes to us from, again, tokusatsunetwork.com, a great source for your tokusatsu news. I also personally use jefusion.com along with Toku Nation for all of my sources of news. So if you guys are interested, I definitely recommend checking them out. But let's see. It says the prequel spinoff, The Legacy of the Master Soul, will continue with 2 more episodes. Episode 2 will be released on the Toei Tokusatsu Fan Club on November 21st. So October 17th was the first episode of the Ryusoulger prequel spinoff. It says, and 2 more episodes were in fact announced. So this one dropped October 17th. The next one drops November 21st. Episode 2 synopsis. Nairi, Master Red's senior pupil, appears before Mayu, Master Blue's former pupil, who is researching the real souls. To achieve his goals, Nairi needs the Kanai soul, also known as the illusory real soul. Just what wish does Nairi want to fulfill? Meanwhile, Master Red is stunned from learning Hana's true identity. Was it really Asuka? Yada, yada, yada. Anyway, it says a special event will be held on November 3rd, where attendees can watch an exclusive screening of episodes 2 and 3 before anyone else. So yeah, guys, it looks as though more Ryusoulger is certainly headed our way. And with this headed our way, it does make me think to myself, like, hey, Hasbro, if you want to go ahead and utilize this Ryusoulger footage also to give us a great little spinoff after Dino Fury, if you ever need an excuse to dabble back in that world again, the world of Wrathcon or whatever the case may be, I think it would be pretty cool. Again, I got to commend Toei for just always having a great creative mindset in doing some fun things like this. Just small little spin-off episodes, small specials like we've seen from Zenkaiger and things like that. Even between seasons with like little mini series, they really do go above and beyond to not only show their love and appreciation for Super Sentai, also love and appreciation for their past actors, but also that not being afraid to create great original content that I think continues to have us coming back for more. And for me, especially with the Ryusoulger series that was really lacking depth, and um, a lot of intricacies, and it just was a very copy paste print, very surface level season to me. The fact that now that we're getting all these additional Ryusoulger prequels or spin-offs really, just for me at least personally, adds to the lore and that entire series, and maybe establishes it a little bit better as a whole franchise or a whole series itself once you actually start including these little spin-offs and things like that. Like we even got the Nada, was it Memories of a Soulmate or something like that? I can't remember, from Nada's little spin-off that they had also. I thought it did wonders in regards to building that actual season of Ryusoulger itself and adding that depth and lore to it that I felt was certainly missed the first time around. So I appreciate them being attentive and recognizing that and continuing to build on the Ryusoulger story, because I do think that it's certainly going a long way. But again, I haven't checked out the first spinoff. If you guys have seen the first Ryusoulger spinoff, the episode 1, let me know your guys' thoughts. And if there is a place to certainly find the English subtitled fan sub version of it, please go ahead and let me know, because I definitely want to go ahead and check this out and bring you guys a review. So don't worry, Yodana special episode 2 review is headed your way. Give me some time, guys. I will be dropping it for you. And then of course this other Ryusoulger episode 1. So I'm excited. I'm glad that things are clearly doing well enough on their Toei Tokusatsu fan club to continue to produce stuff like this. So I truly hope fans of that fan club really do appreciate it. And I kind of want to be a part of it, if I could be honest with you guys. And with that, guys, I think that's going to do it for us today. I think that's going to wrap it up in regards to all of our comments. So thank you very much, guys, or I should say all of our topics for the day. I will jump into your guys' comments real quick, though, just to see what some of you guys are saying. I'm going to scroll up here just a little bit, and then we'll get to your guys' live viewer questions, because I am kind of curious to know what you guys have thought about some of the articles that we've talked about so far today. Also, shout out to some people that we didn't get the opportunity to talk with or shout out earlier. We got Koala in the house. What's up, Koala? Appreciate you coming through. Mikey Nerd Talk is in here also, man. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. I will say, going back to the Hasbro panel, we didn't get any Power Ranger news, which as we got closer to the Power Ranger panel, people did ask me that question. And I, while I was very certain about it early November, but then when we started hearing rumors of a possible rumored Zyuohger adaptation, also the idea that maybe the end result or the lack of result that Snake Eyes brought to Hasbro, and them now being maybe a little bit worried about their Power Ranger stuff, right? Kind of taking a step back, reevaluating things a little bit. When I started hearing that news and rumors, I started becoming less sure about if we were going to be getting any news whatsoever. And we didn't get any at all. So, and plus, I think they're very much in a state of flux with the unfortunate passing of Brian Goldner. Rest in peace, sir. Which I'm glad that Jackie and them at least did pay him a little bit homage. I was kind of hoping that they would have played that memorable piece for Brian Goldner that they did on their YouTube page that we highlighted last week. It would have been cool if they kind of put that in there. I personally didn't see it, but maybe I missed it, but I'm glad that they at least gave him a shout out. So with all the moving pieces right now, I understand the idea of not making any future Power Ranger announcements past Dino Fury. Mikey says, I got no space for a Zord. I gotta see your collection sooner or later, man. Elliot, what's up, Elliot? Appreciate you coming through today. Appreciate that. Going back to the NFT, Mickey says fake outrage. Okay. A lot of people, Frankie says, what the fuck is wax? Someone dumb it down for me, please. Listen, I tried to do my best. I don't know if I did my best or not. Trust me, guys. I literally spent like 2 or 3 hours yesterday trying to watch books, like literally trying to watch videos, read things in regards to what the is an NFT, how does it work, why is it environmentally unsafe. My brain was hurting, guys. My brain was fucking hurting. Let's see here. Who else? Marcelino says, you're not the only one who hates inconsistency. I see consistent topics all the time, and I just want to speak up and call it out, but I'm afraid to because no one might listen to me. And no, listen, I get it, Marcelino. When you put yourself out there in the fandom, and Mikey, he says, a lot of people in this community are followers. Listen, I very much, I understand the fear that goes out there. The fact that just saying something in which you disagree with somebody or just have a different opinion, the hate and the responses that people give instead of educating and trying to inform. I do think that sometimes the fandom handles it a little bit incorrectly sometimes, and it does make people, too fearful to say what they want to say. And granted, listen, having the ability to have freedom of speech and say whatever you want to say, I think there is also an understanding that by saying whatever you want to say also does come with consequences, right? Like people will react however they certainly want to, but it can be pretty fearful for some people out there, for sure. Enrique, he says, have you checked the new Kamen Rider Beyond Generations 50th anniversary movie teaser? Yes, I did. I did think about, I did see the Kamen Rider Beyond trailer. I was going to go ahead and put it up here, but I decided not to because again, it did have Kamen Rider Revice in it. And I know we've literally have talked about it a little bit here in regards to the controversy, talk about that and the NFT stuff that wind up happening, some of the inconsistencies that I've seen, or the hypocrisy in regards to where people's energy lies in regards to what they want to fight for and not fight for. I try not to give Kamen Rider Revice a place on my show or on my channel for that matter, to really stick to my guns in regards to standing up for something I don't believe is right. So I did watch it though. I did watch the trailer itself. I just decided not to necessarily talk about it, but it's a big moment for sure. I was fascinated from the movie itself, the trailer itself, the concept of a 2070 or 2071 Kamen Rider. I think that's a cool concept to see what a Kamen Rider from the future would look like. Fucking love it, man. I fucking love that concept. Power Rangers Ready says, are you glad Justin was the only Kid Ranger we ever got in Power Rangers? Would you want another one? No. No, I don't want another Kid Ranger. It was fun while it lasted. A Blossom, big fan of the rumors. All these rumors sound too cool. I already know about the Momotaro story. Kamen Rider Saber explained that and Kento, Toma and Kento did. Very cool. I'm glad that they. She says it's a Japanese fairy tale for kids. I'm glad that they at least dove into that a little bit. Maybe that's an episode I'll have to go back and watch. All right, guys. Let me go ahead and start diving into your live viewer questions as we go ahead and wrap up this show. I apologize for this episode going as long as I certainly have. So sorry about that, guys. Bear with me here. All right, a couple questions. I think I got a couple questions too from like the previous week also. Let's see if we can fly through some of these guys. Adam, 3 questions. With Lord Zedd back, do you think he will return as be the main villain for Zyuohger adaptation, aka 30th anniversary of PR? Listen, I don't see why he can't be in both. I think the fact alone that Solon in this episode mentions the idea that the Power Rangers technically never defeated Lord Zedd on their own, that they literally had to use like the last resource in the sense of a Zordon sacrifice in order to kind of get rid of Lord Zedd, I think showcases his powers and his ability. Whether or not the Dino Fury Rangers have that same type of power and ability to even put a dent in Lord Zedd or at least vanquish him, that I don't even know. What me and Stewart talked about earlier was the idea that it would be fun to have not only him come back for Dino Fury 2, but maybe get out of Dino Fury Season 2 with his life still after his impact on the series, but maybe pop back up in a future Power Ranger movie, since some of the leaked script wound up actually having Zedd as the villain in the movie. Granted, that script is old, and things certainly do change over time. But we have connective pieces here. So, I wouldn't mind if it was in Zyuohger also. I feel like you're not the only person that mentioned the Zyuohger connection. I think Marcelino mentioned it as well. So I'm kind of curious as to what happens in the rest of Power Rangers this season to make you guys think that. I'm really fascinated. This is from Power Rangers Legacy. Why I think Power Rangers Ninja Storm was an amazing first season. A welcome to the Disney era. For half the season, we only had 3 main Rangers, Shane, Tori, Dustin, who were the last ninjas of the Win Ninja Academy. It was so cool and different seeing 3 friends who were at the bottom level of the academy being the new Rangers. I totally agree with you. It's one of the aspects I loved about that season. Sensei being a CGI guinea pig was very odd, but also very cool and much more tolerable than the real hamster in its Sentai counterpart that never moved its mouth. The Thunder Rangers being Blake and Hunter were some of the best evil Rangers we had after Tommy, and what was unique about them was that they weren't really mind controlled, but were doing things they thought was right, which was to avenge the death of their adoptive parents, not knowing it was really Lothar who killed them. It was so cool they both wanted to be friends and Dustin, yet used him at the same time to get intel on their tech. Yeah, man, I appreciate you going through this again. Cam was one of the best Green Rangers in the franchise. Cam does get a ton of love, honestly. Who first started off as a jerk who didn't accept the Wind Rangers as Power Rangers because he wasn't impressed by him after knowing they were his father's students. Cam becoming a Ranger was a huge surprise, in which Cam time traveled back in time when his father was a student at the Ninja Wind Academy and got to meet a younger version of his mother, who he lost growing up, and turned out to be the first female ninja student and samurai at the Wind Ninja Academy. The biggest surprise was that Cam found out that Lothar was Sensei's twin brother, who was exiled from using dark ninja powers. That was a great arc for Cam. Later, Shane had one of the best battleizer weapons in the franchise by acquiring it from a guardian angel, a chameleon named Skyla, who watched over him as a kid. This showed that the Shane was always meant to be the Red Ranger. Before the final battle, after Lothar destroyed their base, Shane, Tori, Dustin learned that they were always meant to be Rangers after finding out the Scroll of Destiny had them in its prophecy. Finally, the show ended off with an epic final battle against Lothar, who used Cam's power to steal all 6 of the Rangers' powers. It took the 3 main Rangers to finish him off with their ninja powers, proving that powers are not They are Power Rangers. I love that. I love anytime that a group of Rangers can foil the villain's plans or defeat them without their full capabilities. I always love that. It is always something very, that inner power that you have, really goes a long way in regards to, it's like, it's the idea of, it's not the power that's given to you, it's kind of who you are as a person that really makes you truly a Power Ranger. And I kind of dig mindsets like that. Jessica Friedman, would you like to see a reboot of VR Troopers or a Big Bad Beetleborg one day? VR Troopers. I would love to see a reboot of VR Troopers, if anything. I think today's technology and just the idea of how much virtual reality has become a thing these days, I think now would be a great time to try and bring that back if you want to. JB says, what? Has a couple questions. So I won't be in the live chat, so I won't see your response. The question I have for you is going to be, do you think it's a person less, do you think it's a person less of a fan because they don't follow or interact with the cast on social media? No, not at all. I think you can be a big fan of the franchise, but maybe just not want to get involved in all the social activities that certainly go on. Maybe that's just not somebody's thing, you know. I mean, I don't mind socializing, going on social media and interacting with the cast and stuff from time to time. I mean, that's fun, but it's just not for everybody. Some people are too shy. Some people don't know what to even say, and some people just, are cool with not interacting like that. And I for me, that doesn't make me question their fandom. Let's see, Johnny, you got a couple questions. What did you like for the Power Rangers panel? For me, I really love the Dino Fury one. I think the Dino Fury one was probably the most impressive to me, getting the opportunity to see brand new clips, getting to even see Simon Bennett on there, because I was not expecting Simon to be on the panel. So that was really cool to kind of see his insight in regards to it. He even showcased the Power Ranger Dino Fury prop of a new like Megazord or character. I think it's a Paka. What do they call him? A Paka? I can't remember. But it's a new Zord that will definitely be seen in season 2. Are you stoked for season 2 of Dino Fury officially coming to Netflix? Absolutely. I think this is a great trajectory for just the franchise in general. More eyes, more creative freedom. I think it's a win-win. Are you thrilled that Lord Zedd has returned in Dino Fury? Absolutely. Listen, going into episode 14, I had my worries, I had my doubts. Simon Bennett quenched all those for me, showing his mindset, why they decided to go ahead and take on Lord Zedd, and for me, really doing him justice, if not elevating him even further, to truly make him a threat. And I think that's the key when it comes to Lord Zedd. When he's on screen in any scene, he owns that scene. There's a gravitas to having Lord Zedd, and I think he was just that in this episode, especially when he got his compliance collar taken off. And I'm expecting great things from him in season 2 if he comes back. This is from Adam Perea. When Zato eventually unlocks the Max Ryusoulger Battleizer, would you like for the other Rangers to be able to use it in brand new footage? They already let Zato and Amelia use the Blazing Battle Armor, which is an American exclusive. Well, I think the Blazing Battle Armor is in Ryusoulger, but the idea of utilizing original footage with the Blazing Armor for Amelia, I thought was brilliant. I don't have a problem with other people utilizing the Battleizer, but then is it technically a Battleizer or is it a power-up? I guess for me, I've always looked at Battleizers as just uniquely to the Red Ranger. So there's a part of me that wants it to just be for the Red Ranger, preferably. But if they want to take their own liberties and create something original, I've got no problem with it. It doesn't bother me either way. You might have talked about this already, but what did you think of the return of Lord Zedd? Do you think it's the same Lord Zedd or a newer version, considering the one we all know turned human at the end? Were you worried about new Zedd would be portrayed in Dino Fury, and were you surprised he he wasn't wasted, but simply disappeared. Could he possibly be one of the main villains in season 2? OMG, yeah, that's my excitement level too for possibly seeing Lord Zedd return for season 2. You bring up a good point. The fact we were just talking about this with so technically I believe that now there are 2 Lord Zeds in this world. I think there is definitely the good Lord Zedd that we saw when it comes to season 3, or I should say at the end of In Space. So I do think that there is still a good Lord Zedd. But I think this character has the ability to truly recreate somebody from the ground up. So it's not like an illusion. I don't think it's a case of you destroy the main monster that created him and it takes Lord Zedd away. This is very much a concept of really reincarnating and bringing forth a very live flesh and blood and a new Lord Zedd, but still with that mentality from season 2, if you will. Just kind of yanked out when he was at his most powerful before, he got married and, they chopped his balls off sort of thing. So that's kind of how I'm viewing it, is that he's very much a new version, but still the classic Zedd. But I think now we've got 2 Zeds in the universe, one good and one bad, and I think that's terrible for the universe. I think this is going to have, I'm hoping, lasting ramifications. Do you think that so far Dino Fury is doing an excellent job at paying homage to old seasons while still being its own thing? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's something that Simon Bennett's doing fantastically well. Still giving Dino Fury its own storylines and focusing on them, but having no problem in going back and paying nods to the previous years. Do you feel it's doing a better job at connecting seasons more so than Beast Morphers? No, I find them pretty equivalent right now. I think they're doing a pretty good job. I think season 2 for Beast Morphers really went that route of trying to connect it. I think season 1 was kind of laying the groundwork for a lot of these characters. But I feel right now, I think they're doing a really well-balanced job. Would you like it if when we eventually see the return of Commander Shaw, maybe she'll bring back old weapons for the Dino Fury Rangers to use, or even gear powered by Morphex? That would be cool if you brought back gear powered by Morphex. I think that would be pretty cool. Ram Jam, what's up, Ram Jam? With Netflix having the rights to the second season of Dino Fury, do you think Netflix will be the official home for future Power Rangers season adaptations or something original? I think maybe a combination of both. I think the Jonathan Entwistle stuff, the adult Power Ranger stuff, will be on there, but I also do think if they do stick with the child Power Ranger stuff, I think it'll be on Nickelodeon as well. Do you think Power Rangers would ever go back to the 40 episode season format if they were to move away from Nickelodeon? It would be cool to see. It definitely would be cool to see. I mean, I feel like we still get the 40 episodes, but they're just breaking them down now into 2 seasons, which kind of makes sense for me. I mean, you look at a show like CW and what they're doing with their DC television stuff. I mean, we get 20 episodes a season, and then the next season we get another 20 plus episodes, or whatever the case may be. So I'm cool with the idea of future Power Ranger seasons having multiple seasons. Still broken down in 20, but I would be curious, like, are the 20 episodes going to be extended? Are we still doing half an hour stuff? Are we doing 40 episodes? You know what I mean? I'm kind of curious to see what the format will change. I don't really know right now, but I'm open to it. I'm open to it. Would you like to see Hasbro follow in the footsteps of DC Comics when they release digital or made for DVD releases of animated Power Ranger movies? Yeah, I think that would be cool to see. I would be down for that. L'Oreal's got some questions. Sure, like those. Sure, looked like those dudes from Hasbro did their homework when talking about Zedd's past. Am I right? Yeah, absolutely. They definitely did not want to drop the ball on this one because I think they knew it was going to be a shitstorm if they did dropping the ball on Lord Zedd's return. Since Zedd's purified self is Chokyu 7, do you think it could work if Dino Fury and the Imaginatrix help him fight the evil embodiment of his past haunting him? Well, that's a cool concept for your I kind of dig that. I kind of dig that, Blossom, for your story that you're going with your Imaginatrix. What was the best part of the episode? Oh, damn. I think the best part of the episode for me was seeing Lord Zedd go ape shit on people. Getting to see him just throw Void Knight to the side like you're nothing to me, bro, was pretty impressive to say the least. I even enjoyed it like when he was fighting his own two monsters and even get an opportunity to see the compliance collar go off and the immediate surge of power that just goes through this dude's body. Talk about intimidating as fuck. If I saw his visor turned red, I probably would have pissed my pants. But that's probably one of my favorite parts. That and just seeing Ali thrust himself into a battle with Lord Zedd, knowing the outcome was probably going to be terrible, but the idea of the importance of saving his friends meant more to him. I think that says something. Power Rangers Legacy says, what ranger or character from the past or present would you like to see more explored, or either in a future season or in the comic books? I actually would love to see more Ecliptor. I know we've gotten him explored a little bit in the comic books already with Astronema. You know, seeing, I think they had the Power Rangers Unlimited issue where you got to see him really raising Astronema, trying to be guidance for her. But I really want to see more of Ecliptor and learn more of him. So if they were to bring anybody back and focus on him, that would be my suggestion. What storylines of Ryusoulger did you really like that were interesting and hope Dino Fury borrows or even makes better? Um, I really like the idea and the concept of Guy Sorg's armor being haunted in the sense that it was, trapping people, going from a strong opponent to strong opponent, wanting to attach itself to the strongest being out there. There is a part of me that's kind of hoping that that's an attribute to Void Knight's armor that we've yet to learn yet. That the armor itself does have a very negative and evil influence on people. So that's something that I definitely would like to see. And then probably maybe even the masters. I'm very fascinated when it comes to learning the history and the past of Ravcon and Zato and Ion, and I do wonder if they've had masters themselves that sort of taught them. And I think I would be interested to see if that's a storyline that they decide to tackle. Um, and I still want me a Tyramigo, man. I still want me a Tyramigo in some form or another. Even if it's a Tyramigo that's just there to turn into a fucking motorcycle, I don't care. I would just love to see an actual Tyramigo pop up. Since you already watched Karamazor and now halfway through Zenkaiger, what episodes or storylines do you think was better or worse than either series? Would you like those certain storylines to be used in Power Rangers in the future? Well, I'm not expecting Karamazor or Zenkaiger to be adapted just based off of some of the information that we've gotten that Hasbro may only have rights up until Ryusoulger, so that would automatically sort of eliminate a Karamazor and Zenkaiger adaptation. So if that turns out to be true, we may not see any of those as Power Rangers in the future. But what episodes or storylines do I think was better or worse than either series? I think the Crystallian stuff was pretty fascinating. I really liked the Garza and the Takamichi along with his sister's storyline. There was something really fantastic about a very personal storyline, like family tragedy and family turning on each other. It just made for a very personal storyline. So if anything, that's probably one that I would like to see adapted if it were to be. Dino AJ, what's up, AJ? For the Commander Shaw cameo, would you like it if Scrozzle returns? Because we know Homeboy won't die. Would you like him and Slider to interact hearing Camel Cooley talking to himself? That would be pretty fun. That would be pretty fun. Maybe like a special episode. Maybe season two's Halloween or Christmas special. Maybe give me one of those. But I would be down for a Scrozzle return. I absolutely would. As I write this, Hasbro PulseCon is tomorrow. What did you think of the Dino Fury panel? We kind of talked about that already in our segment. With Thursday's news of Dino Fury being officially coming to Netflix, how excited are you for the second season? And do you think this could mean we might get a new Sentai adaptation after Dino Fury, or even the reimagining Hasbro movie going to Netflix? So I do think I don't necessarily think that because it's going to Netflix and we have this announcement that it means that we're going to be getting ourselves another Sentai adaptation. I think another adaptation is in the works, and I think it probably would have been, regardless if they had joined up with Netflix or not. Um, I would be interested. I don't really know where I land on this in regards to whether or not we're gonna be getting something Sentai related after Dino Fury. I am leaning towards that just because it would be cool to see Ryusoulger brought to life in some way. If Hasbro does need a buffer to kind of hold them over in the meantime, until they can get their Power Ranger stuff up and running, I would be perfectly okay with it. I would even be cool with the idea of them utilizing it as part of their theme, but then giving us all the original footage outside of that too. I would be down for that. But I do think just having exclusive rights with Netflix, continuing to show your support and collaboration with them, does make me think that regardless, whatever else Power Rangers comes out or Hasbro comes out with, there will be more Power Ranger content on Netflix, whether that's the reimagining stuff from Jonathan Entwistle, more kid show, or even animated stuff. I do think we're going to get more. Adrian, what's up, Adrian? Hope all is well. What did you think of this year's Hasbro PulseCon? And are you excited that Dino Fury is coming straight to Netflix? I will say this to answer your first question. I really enjoyed Power Rangers. I really enjoyed the Hasbro PulseCon this year. I thought they did a pretty good job. The panels itself were actually pretty cool. There is a presentation format that I kind of appreciated a little bit more last year than what we wind up getting. I thought the presentation of it was a little bit better last year. Maybe a little bit more interactive, but I kind of dug I kind of dug it. I thought it did its job. Do you think that in Power Rangers Samurai, Saban disrespected RPM by not having a real crossover? Aside from having Ika Darville back as Scott, but he was credited under a different name and couldn't take off his helmet. And do you wish we had the proper name, a proper team up with RPM? Yeah, I do think that it would have been cool to have a proper RPM. I don't necessarily know if he disrespected RPM so much as, you're moving over to a new company. You want to try and inject some life back into Power Rangers, do something a little bit new and different, do things his way. I honestly know if it's like a disrespect so much as it is just trying to showcase, hey, Power Rangers is back and it's new. Unfortunately, it didn't. It flopped. It wasn't that big of a success, unfortunately. And do you think Power Rangers would still be what it is today when it comes to popularity? Wait, do you think Power Rangers would still be what it is today when it comes to popularity and diversity? Going back from last week's controversial episode, it is very important for Power Rangers to be diverse and represent different people. Do you think Power Rangers was always meant to be that way, and why other power superhero shows have now followed but are taking more risks? Do you think Power Rangers would still be what it is today when it comes to popularity and diversity? It is very important for Power Rangers to be diverse and represent different people. Do you think Power Rangers was always meant to be that way? Hmm. I am kind of curious about that. Like, I wonder if Saban, the first time around, I gotta think so. I gotta think so. Whether it was always meant to be as forward thinking as it is today, that I don't know. But I do think the idea of including different races to add diversity, I think maybe he did want it to be a diverse show in regards for kids to be able to see themselves. But I don't know if it was maybe as forward thinking as it maybe is today, where people are actively thinking like, hey, we got to branch this out even more. Times have kind of changed. People are starting to recognize themselves as other things. And so we got to start encapsulating all of that. I wouldn't necessarily even go so far as to say like that just started with like Hasbro or even the Neo Saban era. Well, I think it's something that was always at the forefront of their minds of, hey, let's make this more diverse. But I think as we've grown as a culture, I think we're realizing, exactly the wide range of diversity and inclusion and what that means. And so giving more people more chances currently, but I think the mindset has always been the same. But I could be wrong. Let's see here. And last but not least, we got Doomsday. Says we haven't seen the Garcia step siblings' mother throughout this season. What do you predict might have happened to her? I do wonder if she passed away or if Warden Garcia, being a hard ass that he is, maybe ran her off. Who knows? Like, I just can't deal with your hard assness, man. I hope it's addressed, though. I do hope it's addressed. If Zoolager is going to be the 30th season of Power Rangers, that's a big if. Do you think it would really make sense to have it be martial artists, animal themed, despite the Sentai being purely animal themed? Because Jungle Fury was a martial arts animal theme, and its Sentai counterpart, Geki Ranger, was also both a martial arts and animal theme season. Yeah, I think so. I do wonder if there's going to be an aspect of video games involved too. If not, I'm cool with it. But the martial arts and animal theme works for me. I've always wanted to kind of go back to the martial arts route of things and see what it brings. Because I love that. I always was a big fan of that theme, so I'm here for it. I would be okay with it. Before you watched Old Foes, what did you predict Ollie's biggest fear was? My prediction based on the synopsis was that, was that Ollie's biggest fear was losing his friends. So you called it. I mean, that technically was his his fear, if there was one. I'm trying to remember if I tried to predict what it was. If anything, I probably predicted it to be something stupid, like spiders or some, a vegetable or some shit. I don't know. Like broccoli really freaks me out, guys. The way that those stock heads look, it freaks me out. I don't know. Like, I can't remember off the top of my head. But I will say this, with Ollie's biggest fear truly being the idea of losing his friends, I love the idea that his fear is not going up against Lord Zedd. And I think this episode did a fantastic job in showcasing his bravery and his courage. And I think it really did go a long way to impressing me as far as his character goes. So I like the way that they handle and just his Ollie's mindset. I like the way that they tackle him, at least. So we'll see how they tackle him for the remainder of the season, though. But yeah, good questions, guys. Good questions. I think with that out of the way, that wraps up all my questions that I had from like last week and this week. Yeah, it looks like it. Long episode this week, guys. I do apologize. I really do apologize. Marcelino, did you? I'm trying to. Now you got me going back, looking like, did I miss Marcelino's questions? Um, oh, this was 6 days ago. Here we go. Just to let you know, Zoologer has a 2-episode team up with the Gokaigers where they fight past villains. They have a movie team up with the Ninjas where they fight all the past Ninja villains. And finally, they have a 4-episode, 10-minute team up with Rangers from past seasons. But all it is about the Rangers doing a series of contests to see which team will be crowned as the next Animal Sentai theme. Interesting. Any of these team ups could be adapted for the Zoologer adapted. Hasbro could just create their own team up, but all depends on how much COVID will be affected in 2023. Yeah, I would like them to create their own team up, but you're right. COVID definitely would be a big issue. And sorry about the questions, man. I think what happens is sometimes the questions will come in, and out of curiosity, I'll open them up early to kind of see what they say and forget to put them back as new. So when I go back into it, it looks as like I've read the message already. So I apologize. But yeah, definitely potential there, regardless if they want to go the Sentai footage or original footage for them to do something anniversary wise, which I think is why they were revealing the idea. Like if we are going to push off our reboot and reimagining, like if we need to have something in its way and a way to truly kind of celebrate it, Zoologer would be a solid one. Do you think that more popular voice actors will play roles in the future Power Rangers, like Tara Strong, Frank Welker, Jim Cummings, Tom Kenny? Maybe if we get yeah, I think if we get Power Ranger animated stuff and Hasbro's really putting their foot down and truly are trying to make this impressive, I do think that we can. I do think that we can. On a personal level, I wish Steel had never turned human. I don't hate Steel. It's just that it would be easier to bring him back because then you would just need a suit and a voice and not have to rely on a physical actor to be scheduled on the right time, especially since COVID is now a thing. But what do you think? I understand. I definitely understand where you're coming from in that regards, right? So you definitely want to eliminate as much risk to bringing somebody back as possible. If you can do it in other ways, why not do it that way? For me, though, I will say, I think based off of just the story trajectory, I think what what they gave us outweighs what I wanted or what I would like to see. I think the idea of Steel turning human, that being like one of his biggest goals all year, all season long was, you know, I want to experience what it's like to be a human. You know, I want to be able to experience those same type of things. So for his end game to be, well, hey, now you got your wish. You're a real live boy, Pinocchio. I do dig that concept, and for me, it was really cool to kind of see a human version of Steel. And so for me, I would take the human version any day over the idea of just having a suit actor come back. And reprise their role easily. I do think just based off of Steele's trajectory, his storyline, him turning to a real life boy was the perfect end to his story. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it regardless. But I get your point for sure. And now that will end our live viewer questions for the day, guys. So thank you very much for certainly coming through. And yeah, other than that, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for our show today since we have gone on long. Shout out to Stewart for certainly coming through for our Dino Fury review. Shout out to you guys for certainly sticking through with all the controversy and all the panel breakdowns and things like that. Hopefully, me breaking it down, showcasing two different sides, trying to explain it a little bit helps you guys. If you do have additional questions, I would recommend a great Google search, whether that be NFTs, wax NFTs. Learn what you can about it and certainly make your own decision, guys. But there's a ton to certainly look forward to in regards to the future of Power Rangers. It's looking rather bright, and I'm definitely here for it, guys, as plenty of you certainly seem to be as well. So if anything, that's going to wrap it up for us. We will, in fact, be back next weekend live every Saturday, going live at noon Central Time. So certainly go ahead and join us then. But until then, that'll do it for us, and we'll see you next time. So until then, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll see you guys later. Bye. If you enjoy our content and want to be a part of helping our channel grow, become a patron supporter. We have affordable tiers to choose from that offer a variety of exclusive and early access content, from audio files for all of our shows for you to enjoy on the road, access to our Discord community, and plenty of reactions, reviews, character breakdowns, and more. Check us out at patreon.com/A+opinions. And as always, remember, like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so anytime we drop a brand new video, you will be notified.